Hey, 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 happy hump day, everybody. It's Wednesday. Welcome back to the True Crime Cafe. It's great to have you guys here. As you guys saw in the title, in the Savannah Soto Matthew Guerra case, there is and has been a third arrest. I'm going to show you guys the press conference from that, the arrest being done, and we're going to talk about it all the way around, guys. Thank you for joining me. Let's get this show on the road. And here we go. Here we go. Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Good to see you today. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back. It is Wednesday, January 10th, 2024, and we are back in regards to Savannah Soto, Matthew Guerra, and the third arrest. A press conference just started on this in regards to the arrest. I'm going to bring that to you guys right away. We'll catch up like we normally do. I don't want you guys to miss this. And then I'll go back and show you the arrest. And it seems to be the mother, Christopher's mother. So come on down, guys. Come on in, get comfortable. Like I said, we're going to kick this off right away because I don't want you guys to miss any of this. So here we go.
Here, we're going to provide you with
Welcome, everybody. Great to have you here. Well, stepmother, either. Sorry. I should clarify. Definitely, but here we are, guys. And welcome, everybody. Good to see you. Good to have you here. D. Smith in the house. Lynn T. Randy Fur. Polly Pepper. Eddie One Made Nut back in the house. Good to see you. Randy Fur, welcome back to you. Josie West. Nat Cat, welcome back. Group's in the house. Josie West again. JC Ann, welcome back, dear. Lisa Vallejo. Always happy to see you. Miss Brandy B in the house. Come on in, guys. Grab a chair, coffee, tea, whatever it may be. We're going to sit down, have a conversation with me. Come on in, guys, if you will. And I'm going to shut up and let you watch this. Yeah, it's the step. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to be quiet now and let you catch all this.
Okay.
And I need to say, I'm sorry, you guys, for the notice, very short notice. I was going to do something different today. I was working on that actually, and then I got an alert, and I was like, well, shit. Okay. Everybody's going to want to know this. So hold on one second, folks. All right. Come on in and grab a chair, if you will, please. Please hit that like button on your way in the door. We got 33 peeps in here, it looks like. Make sure you're doing that. Get it out there. Share this out so we can get in the algorithm and everybody can see what's going on in Texas. Thank you guys so very much for joining us today. Lynn T, welcome back to You Got Me Stumped. What's going on? Jennifer Romero, long time no see. Great to see you. David Clayton, my brother, great to have you here. D. Smith again, if you didn't see. Down Niles Buckman, wonderful to have you. Good to see you today. Come on in, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whatever it is. I hope it's good for you because it's good for me to be here with you guys, to be able to bring this to you guys right here. Cammy Q, what's happening? Another one of my awesome mods. Thank you, mods, for joining me today. I cannot and will not and could not do this without you guys. So thank you and God bless all of you. Yes, yes, yes. Martha I can't, Romanis, I think it is how you pronounce it. Stepmother to Christopher, the who they call the trigger person in this, has been arrested. BZ Collecting, what's going on? I was watching the jellyfish UFO. Hey, at least you were watching something, David. Hey, sorry if I interrupted that, but thank you for joining us. I appreciate you very much. Very much.
Yeah.
Melta. Melta Romanes. Melta. Let's try that. Get to it. Come on in, everybody. Please share this out, if you will. I appreciate that very much. Let everybody know here where we are, what we're doing. Got another perp walk going on here. I swear. That hallway. We're gonna get seeing that hallway in our sleep pretty soon. So now we're gonna know the
everyone, we are waiting for the third suspect in the Savannah Soto Matthew Guerra case to be walked out. We're told by police that it is Mirta Romanos. She is the mother of the younger suspect, Christopher Preciado.
Mirta Romanos. Kells is in the house. What's going on, Kells? Like I said, guys, share this out to everybody. Let them know where we're at, what we're doing. Bring them on in. But now we know that there isn't not just, and we're not all crazy. We didn't see floating towels. We know where it came from, guys. I told you guys. We all told you guys. We all saw it. You guys told us. Dakota Parker, happy Wednesday to you. Good to see you today. Ah, that's what you think, Kels? You know what? You could be right. Although we'll see by the body structure. That's a good point, though. A couple people said that to me. And there she is. Merta. Oh my goodness, look at that little police officer. Merta Romanos. I like the t-shirt.
Mirta, did you give Christopher your gun? Did you give Christopher your gun to use in this murder?
Are you sorry?
Did you give Christopher your gun?
How can you sleep at night? How have you been able to sleep at night?
Anything to say to the family?
Did you give Christopher your gun?
This one's not speaking.
What is your silence supposed to say? What message is your silence sending? Are you sorry? Does your silence mean anything? What do you want people to know? What do you want to say to Savannah's mother, Matthew's mother?
Sorry about the echo. I hope that fixed.
That is Mirta Romanos. San Antonio police just arrested her in connection to the murders of Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra. Savannah was pregnant at the time of her murder, according to police. She was reported missing back on the Friday before Christmas, and police found her body and Matthew Guerra's body in a car on December 26th, the day after Christmas. Last week, San Antonio police made 2 arrests in this case, Christopher Preciado and his father. And now we have Mirta Romanos, who we're told is the mother of Christopher and married to the father of Christopher. So we are expecting to get an update from police as to why they think she's a suspect. But we know from the search warrant, some paperwork that we've gotten, that she told police that she was sleeping the night that this happened, and that she said it was her gun. You guys ready? Okay.
There we go.
Ready?
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. We're going to provide you with an update on the Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra case. First and foremost, once again, SAPD wants to extend our condolences to the family of Savannah and Matthew. Today, as you saw, we just made another arrest. This is the 3rd arrest in this case. Just to recap, back on December 23rd, Leon Valley PD reported that Savannah and Matthew Guerra were reported missing to their jurisdiction. On December 26th, SAPD officers received a call for a disturbance. When those officers made that location, they discovered the bodies of Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra. They were found deceased in their vehicle, the Kia Optima, that had also been reported missing. Since then, our homicide unit has done an outstanding job in following this case. They followed every lead. They were able to get surveillance video, which led them to these arrests that were made. On January 3rd, we made 2 arrests, 19-year-old Christopher Preciado and 53-year-old Ramon Preciado. There was a lot of information on social media that there was a third individual involved. Our homicide detectives were aware of that. However, we were looking for enough probable cause to make that arrest and to present the best case forward to the DA's office. Today, that happened. They were able to develop enough evidence to charge 47-year-old Mirta Romanos. That's Myrta Ramanos. She is believed to be, I'm not sure exactly what the relationship is, but maybe a stepmother to Christopher, 19-year-old Christopher. She is being charged with 3 felonies. The first one being alter, destroy, conceal a human corpse, which is a 2nd-degree felony. She's also being charged with abuse of corpse, which is a state jail felony, and a 3rd charge, tampering with evidence. Through our forensic unit, we were able to develop information from surveillance video that shows Miss Romanos involved the night of the murder. That video surveillance shows her at the home right after the murders, and she was seen on video surveillance leaving in that black truck that we all saw on the surveillance video, and then returning to her home with Christopher and Ramon in that truck. At this time, I'll take any questions that you might have.
It was her weapon, right?
Excuse me?
They matched her weapon to the ballistics.
Right. That tampering with evidence, from what we understand, she stated that was her gun. So we do know that that was her weapon.
And do they believe they were killed in that home? What was the mother or the stepmom's role in the
I'm not sure exactly where. We haven't released any of that information. I'm not sure what the circumstances were, but we do know she was involved in helping get rid of the evidence concerning those bodies.
On the 3rd, you guys were under the impression that there were only 2 suspects, or had said that there were 2 suspects that were arrested?
No, our homicide detectives were aware early on in the investigation that there wasn't a 3rd person involved. We know that from the video surveillance when there is that towel that's everyone's talked about being thrown. At that time, we just didn't have enough evidence to say that that was Miss Mirta Romanos. But like I said, since then, they've developed enough evidence from surveillance video from the home showing her leaving with the 2. She gets into that truck, and then when they return to the home, it's her, Christopher, and Ramon in that truck.
Had she called you guys in the past week to come to the house at all? Because I know there's been some vandalism there.
I'm not aware of any of that.
As of right now, are you under the impression there are any more suspects?
At this time, we're confident that there's no more suspects. At this time, we're confident that these were the 3 individuals that were involved in this case.
Do you believe this is connected somehow to a larger crime ring or anything like that?
No, we don't have any information to lead us to believe that. We do know that there was, I guess, a transaction earlier in that night. What happened and transpired was Matthew Guerra and Savannah were killed. I don't.
So you guys still don't know where they were killed? Like if it was at home or somewhere else?
We believe it was in that area, right near their home. How cooperative was she? I know there was a search warrant that was issued a few days ago. There was a search warrant, so they had the authority to go into that home. Today, I don't believe she said much.
What happened to the towel?
I don't have that information. Any other questions?
Did she confess today?
She wasn't cooperative today. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
We believe she's a stepmom.
Okay, not
Stepmother,
Not, yeah,
She's
that's.
still married to Ramon, or
I don't know if that's a common law or they're living together, but I don't believe they're legally married. But I'm not for sure. She did live. Them 3 did live in the house together.
So now you guys are identifying as stepmother.
Correct.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you just heard from San Antonio Police on this arrest, the 3rd arrest in the murders of Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra. They, of course, were found dead in a car on Danny K Drive back on December 26th. They were reported missing a few days before. Savannah, she was expected to give birth that Saturday, or to be induced, I should say, that Saturday, and family just hadn't heard from her. So they called Leon Valley Police and reported her missing. And of course, they found her missing, deceased in a car with Matthew Guerra, her boyfriend. And so we, like I said, we just heard from police. They just gave us some information. They said that they had executed a search warrant on the Preciado's home, which there are 2 suspects already arrested. We're talking about Christopher Preciado and Ramon Preciado, and they believe that Mirta is married to Ramon Preciado, the father, and then is the stepmother of Christopher Preciado, who is the one who's charged with capital murder in this case. He's the one who police believe did it. They believe that these 2, the parents, helped with the murder. They helped clean it up, they say. Okay. Sorry, we were just getting some quick updates from police there on the case number. Now, we did get our hands on the arrest affidavit. And according to this arrest affidavit, I'm reading through it. Okay, we're getting sound in Spanish right now, so.
Asesinato de Savannah Soto y Matthew Guerra. Ya sabemos todo lo que pasó antes. Hoy los detectives tenían suficiente evidencia para hacer un arresto.
Welcome, Taxi. Good to see you back again. Thank you for joining us.
Que se trata de este caso. Hoy arrestamos a Mirta Romanos, de 47 años. Ella va a ser cargada con 3 cuentas de delitos mayores. Alter, destroy, or conceal human corpse, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with evidence. Todos son delitos mayores. En la noche, bueno, cuando nosotros, nuestros detectives obtenieron el surveillance, el video del surveillance que tenía la camioneta, cuando estaban tratando de esconder los cuerpos de los
Welcome, Eve Lucky. Good to see ya. Thank you for joining us.
Tercera persona dentro de la troca que como tiró un
Jaylet's in the house. The lovely and amazing Miss Wisdom speaks. I'm so happy to see you. I was worried about you. Josie Joe's in the house. Happy hump day to you, Josie. That's okay. We were worried about you, Sherry. With the weather you were having, I was nervous because I hadn't heard from you, but thank you for being here. And I hope your eyes are doing okay. Always appreciate that, Licky. Josie licking the like. Thank you, Josie. I appreciate you, dear. It's good to see you. In Stitches in the house. What's going on?
No teníamos, ella, siempre sabíamos que era una persona. Pensábamos que era esta señora Romanos. Finalmente teníamos suficiente evidencia para cargarlo con eso. Parece que hoy fue cuando los detectives fueron.
Annie Ruler, good to see you. Thank you for being here today. Hola to you.
Y hoy fueron y la arrestaron sin incidente.
Guys, please share this out and hit that like button on your way in the door if you can. We only got 56 peeps in here. Let's make those match, and let's share this to everybody so that they don't miss this, guys, if we can. I'm sure they're watching at other places too, but we want you here. Come on in, guys.
So, ya había estado cooperando con ustedes. ¿Qué les dio a entender? ¿Qué evidencia les dio a entender que ella era la persona que estaba en ese video?
Finalmente teníamos evidencia de video que vimos a ella entrar a la camioneta con Ramón, o bueno, con una persona, con Ramón, en la noche que ocurrió los asesinatos.
Yeah, I've heard we are too, so just be safe, Brandy.
Christopher y ella salieron de la camioneta.
Kill me, Josie. I love it.
Una de las cargas que ella fue cargada hoy fue tampering with evidence y era la pistola. La pistola, ella es la dueña de la pistola. Ella fue cuando fuimos a recogerlo o buscarlo, estaba en el cuarto de ella escondida y la unidad de forensics confirmó que esa pistola fue la pistola usada en el asesinato de los víctimas.
¿Alguna vez Christopher o Ramón dijeron algo acerca de ella?
Digamos,
¿Alguna vez Christopher o Ramón, los dos involucrados al principio?
ella no, ellos nunca le involucraron a ella y ella nunca se involucró ella misma. Fue evidencia que nuestros detectives obtenieron para poder hacer eso.
Last question, guys.
Y el último vez que estabas aquí, cuando fue el último arrest, dijiste que estabas seguro que no había ningún otro sospechoso.
Bueno, estábamos seguros que no estábamos buscando a otro porque los teníamos identificados. No podíamos hacer un
Yeah,
arrest
guys, I want to say this has been some excellent
ya
police work.
sabíamos quién era.
This is great.
Sí, ya sabíamos quién era, pero ahora finalmente obtuvieron la suficiente evidencia para tener un arresto. Gracias. Thank you.
I would love to see every case that we've ever looked at covered the way that law enforcement handled this. I mean, and this is a small police force, shorthanded, and
Right, we
they
just got another update from police, but this time in Spanish, to give an update to the Spanish stations. But we were able to ask them a couple more questions, specifically about the last time we were here. We were here about a week ago when they arrested the first two suspects, Christopher Preciado and Ramon Preciado, who are related to Mirta, the woman that just arrested, who you saw get perp walked to that police car just a few minutes ago.
exactly, Cammy.
When that happened, they said that they were confident that there were no more people that they were looking for. And so I asked about that because obviously there's a third person arrested. And what I was told by San Antonio police is that they already knew that she was involved in this murder in some form or fashion. They just needed the evidence to be able to prove it and to charge her, which they said that they were able to do today. And they said that when they brought her in, she wasn't cooperating with them, didn't give them much. And another thing that we learned from that press conference in Spanish is that the two suspects that were already arrested, Christopher and Ramon, they did not give her up. They said that they did not even mention her. And so San Antonio police, through their own work, they said that they narrowed down this person, Mirta Romanos, and arrested her. And they said that, of course, it was her gun that Christopher is accused of using in this crime. And again, for those of you just joining us, a third arrest was made in the case involving Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra, the two killed, found dead in a car on December 26th. Savannah was pregnant. She was expected to give birth any minute now. She's actually supposed to be induced the Saturday before her body was found, and her family had reported her missing because she didn't show up to the hospital. So we're going to wrap everything up for you right now, but of course, join us again tonight at 5 and 6 to hear more about this case.
All right, everybody. Welcome again. Like I said, it's great to have you guys here for this. I try to bring you guys things as soon as I get info on these things. Sorry about my camera. Let me fix that a little bit. There we go. That's better. Now you can see me. Hey, surprise. Hello. Anyway, sorry, that was weird. So again, this is what we've all kind of thought, guys. Honestly, we all kind of had the inclination in our minds that there was obviously a third person because of the floating towel. And now we know that, and I think a lot of us, kind of said it maybe it's the mother. I went back to YouTube or Facebook, I'm sorry, and I pulled up some video for you guys last time I was live on this. And we watched that lady walk out of the home, get into an unmarked police car, and looks like be taken down to the station for questioning at some point. And I was saying at that point, this has to be who it is. This has to be who it is. But we can't speculate on something like that until we get the actual info. What's up, Poppy, Mikey? Thank you, Taxi. I'm not trying to. Anyway, Doodlebug's in the house now. Good to see you, Duty. Thank you for being here. All you guys, appreciate you very much. Again, share this out, guys. We got 74 peeps in here. And we need more. Come on in, everybody. 59 likes. Let's make that match if we can, please. And like I said, guys, this is what we were kind of like on the mark with, thinking as we saw that floating towel. There's somebody in that truck. Clue, Kim Marin's in the house. Welcome, Kim. Clue had stated that she said she saw somebody moving around inside the truck. And I think we were all kind of going down that same road. There were rumors there was a brother. There was rumors there was a sister. There's rumors that there was cousins involved. I don't like to report any of that stuff, guys. I am try to be as on point as I can. I try not to project any kind of misinformation if possible because it makes things confusing. Very confusing. By the way, I've missed you, Josie. Our conversations are always fun. It's good to see you here. Michael, can't believe you're here, bro. You must be bored today or something. Great to see you, sir. Miss Sherry, I'm glad you're safe. Like I said, I was really actually worried about you. So was Doodle because of your weather. I hope everything went well with your doctor's appointment and everybody else. It's great to see ya. Having a good day there. Well, weather is crappy. It started to snow here, guys. So I think we're going to get hit with this stupid storm coming. So, moving forward. Let me see here, guys. Let me see if I can pull this up. Give you guys some other things going on here. And they're saying now at this point, this is it. Okay. Which they said that before, but they didn't have enough. I tied myself to a brick wall. Well, okay. If that's what works, then that's what works. You got the white coming there too, Michael. Good Lord. It sure is. And Miss Kim is up near the Buffalo area. I feel bad for her when winter time comes because they get hammered, guys, bad. Buffalo gets slammed. It's horrible. Actually, a lot of people anywhere up in the New York upstate area. I feel bad for you guys. It's crazy. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I don't want it either, Stitches. You can have it. I told you guys. I'm done with snow when Christmas is over. Beyond done with it. Okay, hold on. Josie, yeah, Josie's not getting it. That's good. And it just pissed her. Yeah, that's what we had too with a lot of damn rain. Like I have a lake in my yard next to my pool. How about that? AR Hayes in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you. That's what happens here too. We'll get hammered in February. This weekend we're supposed to get hit with something hard. What's up, Stumped? Good to see ya. The Canadians in the house. Canadians are in the house. They always get hammered. I feel bad for them too. Miss JC Ann coming in out of Nebraska. They usually get hit pretty good too. Thank you again for being here, JC. I always enjoy. I'm super excited to see the new faces we've seen in here. I really appreciate you guys. Close to the Ohio River, don't get much snow. See, we get the lake effect stuff from like Lake Erie. It ain't fun at all. At all. So now they're stating that the gun that was used in this it belonged to the stepmother. I can never say this right. Muerta. If I'm sorry if I'm like butchering that. Muerta Romanos. I think I said that right. Lounslow, first timer, welcome. Good to see ya. Good to have you here. Always happy to see the new faces. Welcome. Appreciate you. I glue up. Oh yeah, Elyria is horrible. I'm like 25 minutes south of Elyria. That's that lake effect stuff, guys. I'm telling you, it's horrible. Say that 10 times. Muerta. Right, Mike. Right. I can't even say it once. What do you mean? Muerta Romanos. Muerta. There we go. Now, I've been wanting to bring this to you guys too. Like, literally, what the hell is going on in Texas? For those of you that live down there, I know I'm pretty close with a few people. Our one of our awesome mods, Mandy Joe, she's the Wonder Mod, I call her. She's down in Texas. Of course, a very good close friend of mine, Jules of All Trades. She's another creator. For those of you that aren't familiar, she lives in Texas too. And it's like, what in the hell is going on down in Texas, guys? There's some crazy shit going on. And I've been following it pretty close. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the story. Just to kind of we'll blend these together since it's all in Texas, but the Ladybird Lake scenario. They keep pulling bodies out of this lake, you guys. And it reminds me of a case that we went over like last year, the Happy Face killer out of the Chicago area. And oh, Kim says I was in San Antonio in the airport the same day. Oh wow, that's crazy, Kim. Josie says I've been watching the trafficking tunnel. Yeah, that's crazy too. I've heard about that, Josie. But they've been pulling bodies out of this Ladybird Lake like crazy. Okay, and it's been happening for a while, and it's turning out to seem like there's some form of, for lack of better terms, a serial killer scenario going on in this area. You know, and it, like I said, it reminded me of that other case that we covered, out of Chicago. So I don't know if you guys have followed any of that stuff, but it's something I've been meaning to bring to you guys. But this popped up, so of course I wanted to cover this first. But it's something we're going to be looking at as well, just so you guys know. Also, the pre-hearings are set. Oh, let me give you guys
pre-trial hearing dates are set for the minute.
Hold on, guys. I'll show you that too, just to keep everybody in the loop.
Pre-trial hearing dates are set for the men accused in the murders of Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra.
Court records show 19-year-old Christopher Presidio pre-hearing is set for February 5th. He's charged with capital murder, as well as charges related to allegations he attempted to hide the bodies. His father, Ramon Preciado, also faces charges he helped his son hide those bodies. His pre-hearing is set for February 6th.
And family and friends.
Y'all notice how the
Okie doke. So there's the trial dates, the pre-hearing dates. Sorry, I should say. I'm waiting on the affidavit or the PCA on the stepmother Muerta to go through. I got to get a hold of that now, and we'll have that info too. And like I said, the way they're explaining this is that the gun belonged to Muerta that was used, and she wasn't talking, guys. She was being quiet. Oh yeah, that's true. The Billy Wagner trial set for May 6th, my daughter's birthday. Thank you, Dakota. Appreciate that. Brian Hoffman's in the house. Brian, what's happening? And I'm sorry, sir, that I didn't get to put it out early. This was a surprise. I was actually loading in the show that I was going to have at 3, and this hit me. I got an alert on this because I'm set up for that kind of stuff, and I'm like, well, we might as well just do it now. That way I can broadcast the whole thing and show it live. So they didn't even hide it. That's the thing. I agree with that one, Stitches. I said that in the beginning. Like, what? This was not smart. You guys, we've seen over the years multiple cases. You know what, Brian, though? You're right. It is right. I've been told that by moderators and stuff, and I've been working on doing it. It was just something that I was trying to do on a regular, and this was just a surprise, so that's why. But I hope you're feeling okay today, Brian. I don't think so. Do we have any Texans here in the house? I don't believe it's illegal. I don't know. Now there could be, restrictions against owning it under disability, but let me see here, guys. 1 second. Welcome, Deborah Thompson. Yeah, this was not. I don't think this was any bigger than what she even said that in this press conference. This was just a bad deal, period. Okay. And these people obviously were not, I mean, for lack of being nice, I don't think they deserve it anyway. They were just stupid criminals. If this was a bigger scenario, this would have been done a hell of a lot more professional, in my opinion. Okay. The car was set in the parking lot. That's what I was starting to say a few minutes ago. My ADHD got me. There's Jetta from Texas. Good to see. Thank you for this. Open carry laws in Texas. We got guns. Of course you do, especially in Texas. Same laws we have here, open carry. So it's not a problem, Brian. There you go. Thank you, Jetta. I appreciate that. Again, guys, 92 peeps here. Please hit that like button on the way in the door. I think this was for again, lack of better terms, a private scenario. I think that Matthew and Savannah posted on social media what they did, so it was widely known. And this Christopher was, and none everybody's going to agree with me, was prompted by that to try to indulge in the situation and grow his pocket, I guess you could say, to try to rob him in a sense. This is what the interaction was, and boom. They didn't try to hide this. Oh, I got you, Kim. They pulled the car up into a parking lot, left in the middle of the parking lot. They didn't do anything to the car. They barely wiped the car down. You saw that. It's just, that's true, Sherry. I agree with that. Party of 5, welcome. Good to see you. It's kind of sad. They left the candle burning thinking they would be back. They were getting everything ready for the next day to have her induced to deliver their child, and this is what happens. It's very, very, very sad. I agree. Susie G, welcome. I saw a camera on the suspect's home. Be funny if their own camera caught the footage. Probably they were talking about that footage, Susie, in this press conference. Gloria S, good to see you. And that's what I'm saying, Brian. Like, this was very unorganized. Okay. Very unorganized. What's up, Willie? Good to see you, buddy. Very, very, and that's why I said I do not believe this was a professional, for lack of better terms. Again, scenario. It was a private, personal, bad deal, and it just was bad. The car was sitting in the middle of a parking lot. They didn't try to hide it. Like I even said, they didn't try to burn the car. They didn't try to dump it in a lake or anything like that. They just put it right out in the middle of the parking lot and said, here it is. Almost as if they wanted it found. They had the gun in their home. Again, these are all stupid things to do in a crime like this, you guys. Very sloppy. Yes, Sherry. Thank you. Very sloppy. And like I said, in my opinion, if this was a professional, as we were saying, the bigger stuff, it would have been completely different, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Wholeheartedly. Well, so I was going to show
Acorn
you.
Is a
1 second here. The drag marks. Yeah, they pulled this guy. I think the scenario happened away from the car, and then they drug him back to the car. That's my thought on that one, Susie. Jetta says it's the norm lately in San Antonio, only because of Savannah. Did y'all see it? Yes. Welcome, Canadian Cat Lady. No worries about being late ever with any of you guys. Never. I'll let you guys check this out too, for those of you that may not have seen this.
Family of the man who was killed along with his girlfriend and unborn child weeks ago is saying its last goodbyes. They celebrated the life of 22-year-old Matthew Guerra earlier today as they gathered for his funeral. He and his girlfriend, 18-year-old Savannah Soto, were shot and killed just days before she was set to give birth to their child. Last week, a father and son were charged in their deaths. Tomorrow is going to be the last service for Guerra, and Savannah Soto's family tells KSAT that her funeral is going to be this Friday. Keep up to date with all of San Antonio's top news.
So they've done that now. Again, very sad. I agree, Willie. I agree. But at this point, guys, there's no point, in my opinion. There's no point in just sitting on that now. We're at the point now where, I think that it's time we know the mistakes that were made. Everybody knows, at this time and point, or at this point in time, in my opinion, it's time to just honor the fact that they're gone. Let their families mourn. It's just sad all the way around. But like I said, I knew there was going to be another arrest. I felt that. And like I said, the floating towel, we all knew. I think everybody knew and wondered why why they had waited, to do this. Um, I wonder what the delay was in her arrest. It's kind of odd, in my opinion. Very odd. That's just my thoughts on this. Well, and like I wonder, see the way that the police are speaking about this is that they left their home, which was there where they're saying where this happened, or around that area, is what I'm guessing, and drove to this spot and met the stepmother, Muerta Romanos is the third arrest, and that is the wife of Ramon and the stepmother of Christopher. So this is where you see this happen, you guys. I didn't see it, unfortunately, but like I said, Clue said she could see somebody moving around. Probably when you zoom in. Yeah, that's what it was, Dakota. It's just you would think that they would have had it. There's the towel. Boom. And now we know for a fact who it was. The stepmother. So they had to gather enough evidence to be able to, charge her as well. And she's being charged with the same things. I want to get the PCA on this. Welcome, Crystal. To be positive to show you guys, exactly what her exact charges are. But she's getting the same tampering and the other charges that the father got as well. Okay, and that shows Christopher getting out of the car. Bing, bing, boom. There it was.
If you're
Good golly, Miss Molly's in the house. Hold on a second, folks. Give me a second here. For those of you that just popped in, give you guys a little look real quick. Thank you, Molly. That is Muerta. That is the third arrest. This is Christopher's stepmother. She just looks mean. And there's her name, Mirta Romanos, age 47. Good Lord, she looks a little older than that. Okay. These are her aliases. Mirta Romano, Romanos, Mirta G. Romanos, Mirta R. Romanos. That's the address there. This is all her info, folks. Thank you, Molly, as always. These must be relations to her here. There's Ramon Preciado. So There it is, folks. A lot of possible associates, and then we have, I can't really see that. Case number. Their probation terminated early, theft 20 to 200. She had shoplifting charges, judgment on that. Previous charges, obviously, for those of you that can't see that here. Let me bring that down a little bit more. There we go. That's what I'm waiting to see, Gloria. They need to charge. Well, Christopher was charged with capital murder, multiple, okay, which means multiple people. So I'm guessing that's where the charge is going to come in for that one. I agree, Josie. I agree. Josie West, sorry. Oh, hold on, guys. I'm checking something here. Okay. One second. Let me throw up some of these photos for you guys that may not have seen some of these things here. This is sad to me. Very sad. This is Matthew's parents, mom and dad there. I just don't get it. I don't understand what goes through people's heads. And this 19-year-old kid had his whole life ahead of him. And you throw it away for money. It's very sad. And take the lives of another group of young kids that it's just beyond sad. At this point, like I said, all we can do now is pray for these families, for their loss and the victims, of course, and God bless the souls of the victims. Yeah, it's just for a little bit of money, guys. You throw your whole life and take other people's lives away just for some money. It's just not worth it, you guys. Money is money, but it's the devil, as far as I'm concerned. It is definitely the devil. You mean they don't give them time to right, exactly, Josie. Welcome everybody again. Thank you for those of you that are just jumping in. Please hit that like button on your way through the door if you can. Let's see here, I'm making sure. Again, thank you, Molly, for sending me the email. That's appreciated more than you know.
You're over 64. Do not pay for dental work.
Sorry, guys. Oh yeah, yeah. I showed video on Facebook of them showing picking her up at the home, taking her in an unmarked police vehicle, obviously going in for questioning, and then she must have been released until they could get what evidence they needed on her. It's crazy. Hold on a minute here. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. If anybody wants to call in to discuss this, let's do it, folks. And there's the number scrolling across the bottom of the screen 234-703-4047. Let's hear your thoughts on this scenario, guys. Please give me a call if you will. Love to hear from you. All right, cool. We got 108 peeps in here now. With 85 likes. We still haven't broke it. Come on, guys. Just a few more likes and we can get this out in the algorithm and get it out there where it belongs so everybody can see this. Let's do that. Hit that like button, please. Well, and that's what they said, Deborah, that she was cooperating with the police until today, and she just shut down. I was surprised. She didn't say anything this time as compared to Ramon. Yes, that's very true, Sherry. And it's very sad. Money is the root of all evil, in my opinion. It makes people do crazy things, horrible things, and it causes. You're okay, Josie. No worries. Anybody else? Anybody, please. Your phone lines are open. If anybody would like to call in to speak on this, please feel free. I would love to hear from you. It is alive and ready to go. Mm-hmm. Toucan Sam. What? Wisdom Ahmad here. Why is she always? Because she wants to be. Same reason why I go on there. Really not your business. We're allowed to do what we want to do. Since you want to try stirring up trouble, it's not going to work. Good try though, Toucan. Have a good day. Pitiful, pitiful, pitiful. Nobody cares. You're fine, Josie. No worries. Oh, he's a joke. It's not even worth talking about. No, not worth wasting breaths on, guys. All right. Nobody seems to want to call at this moment. That's fine. Let me show you guys something else that I was talking about. Kind of like I said, the what's going on in Texas thing that I was talking about. This Ladybird Lake thing is a mystery to me, you guys. It's kind of crazy. Right. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, Sherry? This person's probably him, to be honest with you. Probably peppermint cheese in the house. What's going on? Good to see you. You think they knew him? You know what? I don't think so. I don't think so because it stated that Savannah had to put it in her GPS Well, then again, that doesn't mean that they don't know him through social media. Who knows? You know, that's a good question, though. Thank you, Peppermint G. I want to give you guys a little thing that I was talking about. I'm going to show this to you guys real quick about this Lady Bird Lake thing that's in Texas as well. Pretty interesting, honestly. Hold on a minute here.
You can call me crazy. I know what happened to me to make me passionate and like really double down on one thing. And there's something evil going on in the city.
Take me down to the river where the peace.
Lady Bird Lake is located in the heart of Austin, Texas, the state's capital city. It's a man-made body of water which was formed when a dam was built, and its original purpose was to serve as a reservoir to cool down the local power plant, which is no longer in operation. Lady Bird Lake stretches along the Colorado River with its northern boundary near downtown Austin, and it's easily accessible to residents and visitors alike. Lady Bird Lake was once called Town Lake until the city council renamed it in 2007 in honor of our former First Lady, Claudia Johnson, who was known by her nickname, Lady Bird. Claudia was devoted to beautifying the city of Austin, and she put a lot of time into improving the area around Town Lake, which was in desperate need of attention. While the lake holds a commanding position in the center of the city, before Claudia got involved, its shoreline was described as an eyesore. Years of untamed weeds, overgrown bushes, and rubbish littered the region until Miss Johnson pushed for city funding to transform the area surrounding the lake. She supported a major cleanup as well as the establishment of hiking and biking trails to connect the various water access points. Nowadays, there's a popular 10-mile trail loop which circles the whole lake, as well as various inlets and reserves dotted along the shoreline which provide a sanctuary for protected wildlife. Exploring the shoreline also offers breathtaking city views which are perfectly framed by the broad sky above the ripples of the lake's surface below. With its beautiful waters and scenic surroundings, Lady Bird Lake offers a peaceful reprieve from the bustling city surrounding it. But while the calm waters hold endless appeal to residents, there's been no swimming allowed in Lady Bird Lake since 1964. And if you listen to the rumors, you might believe that the ban is due to poor water quality caused by runoff from city streets, or that building the dam left dangerous materials littered along the lake bed. But the reality of the swimming ban is much darker. Despite its quaint name and serene appeal, Lady Bird Lake has a much more sinister reputation. Right back in those early days when the lake was first formed, 2 young children drowned while swimming with their family on Mother's Day.
Ali Rendon says he was just 8 years old when he witnessed his 8 and 11-year-old sister drown in Lady Bird Lake. Now, decades later, he says it's still a day that's hard for him to talk about.
Then a few weeks later, someone else drowned at Lady Bird Lake. Then a few months after that, when it happened for a third time, the city council was pressured into declaring an all-out ban on swimming. They later extended the ban to include the use of motorized leisure equipment on the lake, and even went as far as to restrict fishing at Lady Bird. It was almost a no-fun zone. Without the option of wading through the water for fun, the lake became popular with water sport enthusiasts who take to the water for stand-up paddleboarding and other non-motorized leisure activities. The parks and trails around the lake are also well utilized for community events, festivals, and concerts.
Like I said, guys, this is something I've been following for a little while now, and it's kind of crazy. We've been talking about this in the background for a little bit, and I kind of wanted to follow this up. I was going to be showing this to you guys here soon, but what the hell, you know? Why not now? What better time? And it's very, very interesting how this is going down. That's a good point, Tozy. That's a hell of a point.
Or even simply for families who just want to spend some time together at the water's edge. But no matter how many years have passed, like a shadow under the surface of the water, the sense of darkness at Lady Bird Lake still remains. And despite the ban on swimming, deaths at the lake.
Well, Kim, there's been things happening, old stuff that happened, but recently it's been like a lot. Okay. 10 or more bodies, as it's going to show you. That's what if you guys remember that have been here for a while, If you go back like a year ago, I covered a case that was called, they were calling it the Happy Face Killer out of Chicago. Okay. And I've been following that too, like I said, in the background. And it kind of links right up to this. It's weird. I was talking to Mama Bear about this at one point, and it's like, it almost makes me wonder. I know this is weird, but I've been following this as close as I can. After the Chicago scenario, the MO for that is the same as this, almost identical, which is weird. That's why I started following this side of it. Because it's all men that the victims are that are washing up in this water. They're all male. And it's like in relation to like bar areas, so on and so forth, and they're passing this off as in like these guys got drunk and fell in the river. It's just weird. I don't know, Molly, if you have that stuff still, hon, if you're in here, the number of people that we have, can you send that back to my email again? Yes, Shelly, they found 8 in the last couple weeks, guys. That's insane to me. That's why I'm saying we need to check this out, and that's why I'm showing this to you guys. Yeah, exactly, Josie, exactly. It's getting to that point. That's why we're checking this out today, guys.
Have continued right up until present day, except that in recent years, the victims aren't simply drowning, and their deaths appear as though they may be connected. So let's talk about the victims, all of whom seem to be male.
Exactly.
My dad just gathered all us together and said, hey, let's all hold hand and go into the water.
The true mystery began in April of 2008, when the body of a missing man was found floating in Lady Bird Lake. 55-year-old Rihad Hamad was born and raised in Lebanon before immigrating to the United States. He lived in Austin for 30 years prior to his death, where he used various degrees to teach business education. On the side, he taught keyboarding to middle school students. He was known as a generous man who was peaceful and patient. Riyadh was also deeply involved in Austin-based charity work and even sold handmade goods to raise funds for Palestinian families. On top of his work and community engagements, Riyadh was outspoken on international politics, specifically in relation to U.S. policy in the Middle East. 2 months prior to his death, his home was raided by the FBI, and 40 boxes of paperwork were removed, but ultimately, no charges were ever brought against Riyadh. On the 13th of April 2008, Mr. Hamad was reported missing by his wife after failing to return from a trip to the pharmacy. Then the following day, a passerby noticed something unusual floating in the water at Lady Bird Lake. As the current brought the item closer to the shore, the woman quickly realized that what she was looking at was a body. She called the authorities straight away. It was soon identified as father of two, Riyadh Hamad. Officials declared that Riyadh appeared to have committed suicide. There was just one problem with
You know what, guys? I don't want to try to link this with the Chicago, happy face, smiley face, because one of these cases, I always get these confused. Smiley face or happy face is from way long time ago, and then it resurfaced, and they started doing this again. Michelle E, good to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Again, guys, hitting that like button on the way in the door is the way to do it. Doesn't cost a dime. Appreciate that. And if you when Molly sends that document to me that I was reading, it's showing that like law enforcement keeps stating on these that there's no foul play. There's no foul play. There's no foul play. There's no foul play. It seems that they're letting it look as if it's just accidental all the way around. And I can't believe that. And it makes me, I get this weird inclination when I see this, and it just takes me back to Chicago, guys. And I've said this, I know it sounds dumb, almost as if this guy's like if this is one person, a traveling serial killer. You know what I'm saying? Now, okay, Candace says there's happy face killer. He's in jail. He's not connected. The smiley face killer is a network of people. That's I always flip them back and forth, but it's been going on for years. That's right. And it makes me wonder, that's what I'm talking about, Candace, if this is possibly linked to that. You know what I'm saying? It's got me wondering. I really got to say. Yes, very similar to Chicago Taxi. Very similar. and it's got my interest peaked, and it has. Thank you so much, Doodle. Again, thank you to anybody that has donated to these links here that has to support the channel. It very much appreciated, not expected, of course. But it does keep these bills paid so I can keep coming and seeing you guys every single day, and you can see my pretty face. I do appreciate you guys so very much for that, for those that have. Thank you again. It is all men, Shelly. Everything, all men, not one woman.
With that theory, it completely contradicted the circumstances in which his body was found. The woman who first spotted him in the lake recalled that Riyad's hands and legs were bound and that there was duct tape over both his eyes and mouth. And others who watched the body being pulled from the water noticed the same thing. So no one could understand the strange announcement from officials. In fact, when information about the duct tape and bindings went public, the police were forced to make a follow-up statement where they stated that the bindings of his hands and legs and placement of the tape were all consistent with Hamad having done that to himself. They had apparently spoken to friends and family of Riyad who claimed that he'd been experiencing thoughts of harming himself in the lead up to his death. He was upset about the recent FBI raid, which had the potential to damage his reputation and affect his charity work. However, the person responsible for preparing Riyad's body for his death rites claimed to have seen facial bruising and other injuries on the body, which he described as looking like he'd been attacked by an animal. These injuries would be inconsistent with a person taping themselves up and then somehow getting into the water to drown. The FBI never brought charges against Riyad, and none of the reasons for their raid have ever been publicly substantiated since his death. Mr. Hamad's passing was the first known suspicious.
How did you get off metformin? I use the 10-second peanut trick. What's the
Thank you so
10-second
much,
peanut trick? It's a delicious way
Candace,
to naturally stabilize your blood sugar. How does it
Death at Lady Bird
Sorry about
Lake,
that.
but it's far from the last, and even further from being the most perplexing. On Saturday, the 16th of October, 2012, Austin police identified the body of a man found dead in a creek in Austin as 21-year-old Cole Christensen, a native of Anchorage, Alaska. Christensen, a former student at the University of Alaska Anchorage, was a popular and humorous guy with a bright soul who loved hockey. He was known for customizing jet skis, motorcycles,
yet,
and
Billy,
anything
but
else
I'm
he could get his hands on.
sending it to
One
Molly, and we're
friend
gonna
said,
get working
Cole
on
made a
it.
lot of people laugh, had a really big
That's a
smile,
promise,
and
bud.
treated everyone with kindness. Christensen spent a lot of his time in the presence of his loved ones at a cabin on Big Lake, his favorite place. He enjoyed campfires, wakeboarding, jet skiing, and all things water-related. It's safe to say that Cole Christensen knew his way around water. Even in the winter when it was frozen, he enjoyed snow machining and skiing. Whether he was teaching himself to do backflips on a wakeboard or similar tricks on a jet ski, Cole never shied away from a challenge. The 21-year-old's body was found Saturday morning at 11:10 a.m. by an employee of Austin Music Hall. Cole Christensen had been lying in Shoal Creek behind the business. Austin police ruled his death as not suspicious, and no further investigation was initiated according to APD. The Travis County Medical Examiner's Office said that Cole's death was yet to be determined, as they awaited the results of toxicology testing on his body. But over 10 years later, to my knowledge, this information has never been released. In February of 2014, Ilano Valle was a 20-year-old student at St. Edward's. He was described as a kind soul who fought for the rights of others. His friends say he went out of his way to help people, even if it meant staying up all night. Ilano was the type of guy who would drop whatever he was doing and rush to a friend in need. He loved racquetball and artsy performances like watching orchestras. He was notably recalled for his infectious smile and for occasionally eating nothing but ice cream for dinner. Not many details have been released when it comes to Ilano Valle, but we do know that he was found in Lady Bird Lake, near Cesar Chavez, roughly 10 days after he disappeared.
Oh, okay.
Originally
stuff,
from
Billy.
Maryland,
Yeah, we're gonna be
Aaron
all over
David
this here
Rublik
soon.
moved to
I promise
Austin
you
in
that.
2011. In October of 2014, 25-year-old Aaron was working at a marketing firm in downtown Austin. Rublik was hanging out in the town with his friends one Thursday night before catching a cab to get home from Rainy Street. The driver dropped him off outside the Holiday Inn near I-35 at around 2 a.m. Friday morning. Roughly a day and a half later, two fishermen discovered his body in Lady Bird Lake. Police said they saw no signs of
Give me 1 second, guys. I want to show you something. Hold on a minute here. Okay. Thank you so very much, Molly girl. Appreciate ya. Okay, let me show you this here real quick, you guys. This is the area. This is the map, okay? And this shows how many, all these people here. This is the water, obviously. And you can see it clearly, okay? These are the names. Sony is in the house. What's up? What's going on? Yes, that's my fault, Willie and Molly. I thought I forwarded that to you. I didn't. I will do that as soon as we're done with this today, and we'll get cracking on that, Molly. And my apologies, Willie. It's just a lot of stuff going on. But Jason John, there's another name. Clifton Axtell. These are the more recent ones, I do believe. Okay, hold on. We got more, and I'll show you guys more of this. Probably better off just to finish this up first. Oh, absolutely, Willie.
College at North Texas State University. After graduation, he scored his dream job in Seattle and decided to spend a couple of weeks at home before heading away again. He was known for his big heart and friendly nature. And when Julio's body was pulled from the water on June 7th of 2015, his toxicology report found the presence of alcohol in his system, but no drugs. He was found fully clothed except his belt was missing. And just like the other victims before him, Julio Santos' death was ruled as an accidental drowning. On June 18th of 2016 at around 3 p.m., two people fishing in the water on the south side of the Colorado River near the 2900 block of Wickham Lane reported the discovery of a body.
This is what's bothering me with this, you guys, is that they're all being listed as accidental drownings. I don't like that. Something's off with that. This is definitely off. So that's why we're watching it.
Body lying in the water. While the Colorado River connects to Lady Bird Lake, it's worth noting that the location in question is a brave bit south of the actual lake itself. The Travis County Sheriff's Office said they had no reports of a missing person around that time, and the body wasn't in a spot that was easy to get to. It took some time, but eventually, responders recovered the body of a man. When authorities ran fingerprints, they realized it belonged to 35-year-old Fernando Domingo Ortiz. Fernando came from a big family. He always had time for a good conversation. He loved outdoors, fishing, and taking trips to anywhere with a coast. He was described as a gentle man with the heart of a child, a humble and quiet soul who was physically rather quite strong. I haven't been able to find anything else about Fernando's passing, but on his obituary page, some of those that knew him claimed he lost his wife some time ago, and whenever they would see him out and about, he would always mention how much he missed her. His cause of death, to my knowledge, has yet to be released. On Wednesday, August 15th of 2018 at around 7:25 p.m., EMS received reports of another body floating in Lady Bird Lake near 200 East Riverside Drive. After recovery, officials initially believed the man to be in his 40s. He was eventually ID'd as 37-year-old Louis Ramirez. Born in McAllen, Texas, Louis moved to Austin after high school and attended St. Edward's University, where he earned a double degree in psychology and political science. But even with his great education, Louis chose to follow his dreams. His passion was music. He made a living as a DJ his entire adult life, working multiple venues such as Kingdom Club and the now closed Lanai Rooftop Club. Louis is remembered as having the best interests in people. He was an extremely positive as well as a loving and caring individual. He'd give his last buck to help someone out and periodically looked after the homeless. While Louis enjoyed nature and hiking in places like Barton Springs Pool, some report that Louis Ramirez was scared of water and wouldn't dare go near it. As with previous victims of Lady Bird Lake, there are still a lot of details about this case that we just don't know.
This is how AG1 works to upgrade your health routine. By combining...
On October 6th of 2018, 25-year-old Christopher White was in Austin visiting friends and attending the Austin City Limits Music Festival when he went missing. Friends last saw him at around 6 a.m. after he'd had a few drinks and was intoxicated. Christopher told them that he wanted to go check out the water nearby the rental property in West Austin where they were staying. He left without his shoes, wallet, or phone. When he didn't return, he was reported missing. 2 days later, Christopher's body was spotted by passersby near a dock in the Colorado River, close to the rental property he was visiting. Later, his toxicology report revealed the presence of several other substances outside of alcohol. Just weeks later, 25-year-old Martin Gutierrez went missing in Austin. Martin wasn't a local. He was raised in Big Spring before moving to Austin in 2008 after graduating from Texas Tech. His big brother Mitchell recalled how Martin was a caring and loving guy who enjoyed working out and socializing. The night Martin went missing, he had dinner with his brother before meeting up with friends at a local bar. He was last seen wearing jeans and a blue Patagonia jacket, which was the same outfit he was found wearing when his body was recovered from Lady Bird Lake a week later, on November 19th of 2018. Martin's autopsy lists his cause of death as drowning, but his family believes there's more to the story. He had a contusion on the back of his head, and while his blood showed the presence of alcohol, it wouldn't have been enough to impair him to the point where he would enter the dangerous water fully clothed and then be unable to get back out. And there weren't any other drugs found in Martin's system, but there are a few moments of CCTV footage, which captures Martin Gutierrez walking toward the lake. In the video, he can be seen dancing around goofily. According to Mitchell, this is not at all how Martin would behave even when he is intoxicated. Martin's family believed that he was drugged in a bar and then attacked when he was walking close to the water. His death tore a hole in his family, and they joined the growing call for action to protect.
That's where my mind is going with this, is that somebody is drugging the drinks in the bars, possibly. I've always thought that with this, even with Chicago. Okay. And I know that toxicology is making it hard to put that in there, but there's got to be something. Like they're stating in this guy's case, he's acting a way that he doesn't normally act, even when he's intoxicated. You know what I mean? Something's off with that.
Protect people from the hazards of the lake. There's also the death of Randy Lexvold, who was found dead in Shoal Creek on the 6th of December 2018. Just like the Colorado River, Shoal Creek also feeds into Lady Bird Lake. Randy was visiting Austin to watch his daughter participate in the USA Junior National Swimming Championship when he went missing. A day after he was last seen, his body was found in what can only be described as highly suspicious circumstances. His lungs were filled with fluid, which led the pathologist who conducted the autopsy to determine that he had drowned. But while his cause of death is officially listed as drowning, his specific manner of death is still undetermined. He had several broken bones, including his collarbone, his right thumb, broken ribs, and a broken femur. His head, torso, arms, and legs were covered in scrapes and bruises. The injuries on Randy's body were so bad that police weren't able to identify his age, race, or gender when he was first pulled from the water. However, officials attributed these injuries to a fall in the water, but they couldn't tell how Randy ended up in the creek or where or why he entered the water. All they had to say was that they didn't believe he was robbed because his personal items were found with his body. The autopsy noted that the examiner wasn't sure whether he simply fell, was pushed, was hit by a car and knocked over, or whether he jumped. Thus, the manner of death is undetermined. 21-year-old Christian Pugh was in Austin to see stand-up comedian Tom Segura in November of 2019. He was last seen near Clive and Rainey Street at around 1:30 a.m. before disappearing. He was reported missing at 10:30 p.m. the following day, and flyers with his face on them were put up everywhere. He had left his phone in his car. Pugh's car was found on Slaughter Lane, where Christian took an Uber to Rainey Street. The last charge on the young man's card was at Clive Bar on the corner of Davis and Rainey Street. CCTV showed Christian dancing next door at a place called Container Bar. Another video showed his friends waiting outside for him, but he never came out. Miraculously, Christian was found alive 3 days later on the other side of Lady Bird Lake, near Congress Avenue Bridge, in what was described as rough condition. He was located deep in the brush along a hiking trail, the same trail Martin Gutierrez was found on. As a matter,
I'm starting to, they're not saying this, bombshell, if they're all gay men. But from what I'm seeing and hearing in some aspects, it's starting to look like like hate crimes to me in a sense. That's why I've been following this like this, because that's the way it's coming off to me. I don't want to claim that because we don't know, and I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody that's deceased without knowing this for a fact. But it's very, very well possible that it is, and that in turn to me makes more sense as to why this is happening like this. I don't know for a fact that they were, okay? So I don't want to speculate that either and be, disrespectful like I said, but it's been said to me via emails when I'm talking about this that it was believed that a lot of them were. So I don't know.
Matter of fact, considering Martin's case is what helped lead the search to find Christian Pugh. Christian was in a bad way with life-threatening injuries. According to a video he sent into the Honeydew podcast, he woke up a month later with no recollection of anything that happened to him.
So I was in town to see Tom Segura, of all people. Wait, hold on right now. The whole reason you were in Austin was to see Segura, and you go missing for 3 days and wait a month later. I gotta swear to God, definitely telling him this. Tom, Christian went to see you in Austin. Then after the show,
very
he got
possible
drunk and wandered off from his group, was found 3 days later, and he woke up a month later, dude. And he's about to tell me his story right now, Tom.
Many Medicare Advantage plans include dental coverage at no extra cost. But with so many companies...
Christian's father...
And my thoughts on this were, if they weren't, gay, if they happened to be with friends or in a vicinity of that specific type of a bar, it made me wonder if the person just possibly doing this is thinking because of that maybe they were, and that's just an assumption by the killer that doesn't exist, and that could fit into this as well. Right, Brian. Right. So it's hard to tell. This could just be that somebody's thinking something of this. It doesn't necessarily have to be what it is, and that's the sad part. Moonlit Baby, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Well, right, Iris. That's another good point, and that's exactly, Lynn. That's why this has bothered me so bad. Okay, Brian, thank you.
Father told CBS Austin that he firmly believes his son was hit on the head. He also stated that Christian's hands were bruised. According to him, his son was attacked, but he simply couldn't prove it. Christopher further stated, "There are too many people that have gone missing. There are too many people that have been injured. There are too many people that can walk off, and we still have absolutely no answers as to what happened to any of those folks." No toxicology report regarding Christian Pugh has ever been released. His family believes he may have been thrown off a bridge. Either way, he's lucky to have survived. And his incident further proves that public safety in this area needs drastic reform. On the 5th of February 2023, Jason John, known as JJ, went missing after a night out with friends in the Rainy Street area. The last bar he was in was Cantina 512. He sent a text to his girlfriend after meeting a guy in a bar who gave him his DJ card. After speaking with Jason's mother, I reached out to the guy who gave him the card. He immediately blocked me and told me not to contact him again. Apparently, video surveillance picked up Jason walking for approximately half of the time it takes him to get home from the bar to his apartment. Jason was the first of his friends to leave the bar and go home. He was spotted shaking hands with the bouncer while exiting the venue. Video surveillance then picked him up walking for approximately half of the time it would take from him to get to the bar to his apartment. But when Jason's roommate and roommate's friend realized he never returned the following morning, they reported him missing. Apparently, the reason for his early departure from the bar was to take care of his dog, Ruffle. When Jason went missing, the authorities offered little support to his increasingly frantic mother and father. Jason's parents went from one police station to another and were given some numbers to call that went straight to voicemail. When Jason John's family reached Austin, his friends had already started a search group along with Indian American organizations and Austin Marthoma church members. APD didn't seem too worried about another 30-year-old guy going missing from Rainy Street, but when the councilman Mr. Zoe stepped in, APD offered to help. According to Jason's mother, during the search for her son, not realizing who she was, one of the officers asked her, "Who is Jason?
Yeah, I saw that.
I've never seen so
very
many people
possible.
looking for someone." Another officer told Jason's mother, "You're lucky. You're getting all these services. There's still people under this lake who never got any help." At that stage, Jason's parents had no idea about Lady Bird Lake's murky reputation, but they came face to face with its dark side when the body of their son was pulled from the water 8 days after he was last seen. After a massive search by APD with sonar boats and 2 times by divers, Jason's body was found in the same place he was reported missing. According to Fox 7 in Austin, toxicology reports showed Jason had consumed alcohol before his death, but there were no illicit substances or medications found in his blood. Jason John was 30 years old when he died.
And see, this is where I'm struggling with this, because this to me seems like there should be something in, like, the drinks are getting drugged or something, but it's not showing up on toxicology. And it's like, is there something out there that is non-traceable that you could do this that would cause something like that to happen? Because a lot of these people are seen acting in a way that they normally wouldn't, even while intoxicated. People know these people, know these guys, and know how they act even while they're intoxicated, and they're acting in a different fashion, which tells me something. It's like chemically, there's got to be, something different going on. And I'd like to know, is there something that is not traceable through toxicology that could be put into a drink to cause something like this? You know what I mean? It's something that I'm going to be looking at a little bit harder.
On the night Jason died, he was quoted saying, "I love Austin. I never want to leave Austin." For this reason, Jason's family decided to bury him there rather than in New York. Jason's death marked the first unusual death of 2023. Within 3 months, 4 men had been pulled from Lady Bird Lake. These new deaths were a turning point for local residents. Where they had once merely whispered about a dark force running free in their community, they now began to demand that action be taken to keep them safe, and rightly so. Maybe the fear rising to the surface for Austin residents might have been dispelled if, authorities had actually demonstrated that there was no foul play involved in the deaths. But instead, the police fell back on familiar explanations.
Exactly.
On top of that, the night he had gone missing, Jason was drinking and socializing with friends, with no sign of anything negative going on internally. He was in a great place in his life. He was promoted from director for business development to a senior director at his company, and he was very excited about his new position. He had a girlfriend, a loving family, a huge circle of friends, and was financially stable with no signs of any illnesses. His mother asserted that he would never go near the water, and he wasn't a swimmer. In her own words, for Jason to have gone near the water, someone would have either had to push him in, pick him up, and throw him in.
Why is a shot of olive oil the perfect way to start your day?
Could taking a shot every day help you lose weight, support your heart health, soften your skin, and support your immune system? Surprisingly, the answer is yes. And I'm not talking about taking a shot of alcohol. I'm talking about olive oil. In fact, it's common for people in Europe to take a shot of olive oil every morning. There's just one problem, though. Not all olive oil is created equal. As a matter of fact, some olive oils, even $30 bottles from fancy specialty stores, may actually be rancid. And some bottles that line your supermarket shelves have labeling that may be quite misleading if you don't know what to look for. Well, it's time we put an end to that. So today, I'm pulling back the curtain and exposing these tricks once and for all. During this video, I'll reveal the secret to choosing the best olive oil for you. Believe it or not, it has absolutely nothing to do with how much it costs or where it's made. I'll also share how much olive oil you should be consuming on a weekly basis if you want the best chance to enjoy a slimmer physique, softer skin, and a healthier body. I think the answer might pleasantly surprise you. Best of all, the information you're about to gain access to has already helped thousands take back control of their health, and I know it can help you too. Big Tech won't let me play any more of this video, but you can watch the rest for free by clicking the Learn More button below, where I'll show you which olive oil you need to be taking every day. Taking this one specific olive oil can help you achieve digestion support, more energy, a slimmer waistline, and a ton of other changes. Don't wait. Finish the video by clicking the Learn More button right now.
Are you still wearing enough layers to insulate Alaska? That's why you need the new and improved Bearskin hoodie. The 6-pocket Polar Fleece tactical hoodie that blocks wind and regulates heat for incredible comfort, wherever you are. That's why we designed the Bearskin hoodie with improved wind-insulation technology on the waist, arms, and hood. Plus, an extended storm flap that runs the length of the front zip to block wind double time. Finally, a functional hoodie you can actually take outside. You're seeing this video because we want to offer you 60% off your Bearskin hoodie today with free delivery. And you might not see this video again, so head over to stopbadhoodies.com to activate the 60% off deal. Because just like you, we hate carrying man bags, duffel bags, or messenger bags on top of our hoodies. That's why this hoodie has 9 pockets, with 6 secure zip pockets on the outside.
Or someone drugged him.
Sorry about that, guys.
Aside from Riyadh's death in 2008, Cliff Axtell, born in 1982, was the oldest of the potential connected victims found at Lady Bird Lake. Cliff was always known as a compassionate and witty guy who loved to write and play music. He was a land specialist known for his expertise in commercial real estate. Cliff was also in his senior year at Harvard Extension School, where he made the Dean's List. As well as becoming a member of Southwest Bible Church, Cliff was a part of Celebrate Recovery, where he was the worship
I don't know
leader.
why we have all
He
these
married his wife,
advertisements. I'm
Megan
sorry.
Knight, in 2016, before the couple had 2 children whom Cliff absolutely adored. But like a broken record, on the evening of the 25th of February, Cliff spent time drinking and socializing with his friends on Rainy Street. When he didn't come home, he was reported missing. A week later, on March 5th of 2023, his body was found floating in Lady Bird Lake. The body of 33-year-old Jonathan Honey was recovered shortly after he went missing. John was known for his outgoing personality and cheerful outlook, as well as his smile, which friends described as infectious. Jonathan enjoyed athletics. Specifically, he was fond of cross-country and track and field events. As an adult, he achieved a master's in science degree in system engineering at George Mason University. John Honey lived in Virginia, but he was visiting Austin for a bachelor's event on the weekend he went missing. On the 31st of March, 2023, at around 2 a.m., Jonathan was seen at a taco truck in the Rainy Street area after an evening of socializing with his friends. He was reported missing a few hours later after failing to return to his accommodation. Then on the 1st of April, John Honey's lifeless body was pulled out of Lady Bird Lake. John Christopher Hayes Clark was always known as Chris Clark to his friends. He was a 30-year-old devoted and loving father to his 12-year-old son.
I'm sorry for the advertisements, you guys. I don't know why there's so many. I was reading something when that went through, so I'm sorry I didn't catch it quick. My apologies.
He was known as a fun-loving guy with a great sense of humor and the kind of person who brightened any room he walked into. On April 15th of 2023, APD received multiple emergency calls from residents claiming to have spotted another deceased person in Lady Bird Lake. It was Chris. Initially, a homicide unit responded, but police later stated again that nothing suspicious was discovered.
Yes, Iris,
His cause
that
of
is
death
why
has not
it's
yet been
weird to me.
released, but at the time of writing, investigators have stated they don't believe there was anything suspicious about the incident. The mother of Clark's child told KXAN-TV that Chris was a bright light in my life and my son's life and in my family's life, and I just want to know what happened, and I just want the world to know he didn't deserve this. Chris's death prompted an unexpected response. Well, maybe unexpected for those outside of Austin, but for those who live or work close to Lady Bird Lake, it was merely the straw that broke the camel's back. It wasn't so much the finding of Clark's body that alarmed residents the most. It was the fact that his was the 4th one recovered from the lake in just a couple of months. Furthering concern, Chris Clark was the 2nd body found that month alone, and he was the 8th officially unsuspicious death in less than a year. But still, that's not the only thing that set the community on edge. The 4 most recent victims had a lot in common. They were all males between the ages of 20 and 40, and all of them were last seen drinking and socializing in the Rainy Street area. In my own opinion, It seems like authorities have been downplaying public concern on these cases for years. It's like they blame everything on the consumption of alcohol and easy access to the lake.
Exactly,
But despite their
David.
denials, it wasn't long before the demands for an investigation reached a fever pitch, and the APD were forced to release the following statement. I realize that there's a rampant rumor about a potential serial killer here in Austin. We found no evidence of that. It's a horrible circumstance that we have these, and we look at each one to determine the circumstances in which they occurred. Some of them are accidental, but unfortunately, some of the deaths are also self-induced. The chief of police also made a comment at the City Hall meeting a few months ago stating, "Nothing out of the ordinary happened, and a few bodies usually show up at Lady Bird Lake every year." Jason's mother asked the chief how he'd like to be remembered. As an ordinary chief, or an extraordinary chief who went above and beyond the call of duty? Authorities say that while a lot of these incidents have occurred at the lake, the circumstances, exact locations, and demographics surrounding these cases all vary. Although some of these cases are still under investigation, they claim there's no evidence to support the allegations of foul play. But I promise you, there's more to this story, which I believe makes the likelihood of these deaths being connected much more plausible.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not.
This isn't all the victims of Lady Bird Lake and the surrounding areas. According to a user on Reddit, this is a list of unidentified bodies connected to the area. While these unidentified victims, combined with the victims whose identities we know are highly unlikely to all be linked.
Now, if you look at this, okay, the dates on this, there's so many of them, you guys, and there's more. Like most recently, we're getting there. It's starting to come up, and that's a good point, Molly. It's very possible. Good to see you, Sorceress. Thank you for joining us. That's why I want to look a little bit deeper into this with you guys as well, and I wanted to bring this out to let it be known, to let it be seen if you guys are familiar with this area. Yeah, if you sent that over to me, Brian, I will play that with this as well.
It's hard to deny the probability that some, if not many, are. And if they are, those bodies who aren't connected
I see it,
definitely
Brian.
muddy the water when it comes to finding solid links between the victims. So which cases might be related and which aren't? Well, that's a good question, and we'd need a lot more details to answer it. Nevertheless, there's a lot of bodies and similar circumstances surrounding what's happening in the waters around Austin. Most of the ID'd victims appear to be males, and most of them are in their 20s or 30s except for a few. Most of the victims also appear to have had alcohol in their systems. Another relative factor is the proximity of where the victims were found. It's almost always either in Lady Bird Lake or one of its surrounding rivers or creeks. This location factor also applies to where many of the victims were last seen, the Rainy Street District, or other nearby bar areas around Austin. Rainy Street is known as a trendy nightlife spot with its array of pubs, clubs, and food trucks as well as restaurants. It's located just under 2 miles, or about a 35-minute walk away from the shores of Lady Bird Lake. Once the Rainy Street area was mentioned as being associated with the deaths, locals began to refer to the hypothetical killer as the Rainy Street Ripper. Supporters of the theory that the deaths are connected believe that someone is systematically targeting young men in the area. They claim that the killer is spiking the drinks with GHB, GBL, or some other undetectable drug and waiting for the men to leave whatever bar they've been socializing at. The theory suggests that when the target leaves alone or gets separated from their friends, the Rainy Street Ripper stalks their prey down to the lake's edge before attacking them and discarding their body into the water to cover up their crime. Many believe that this theoretical Ripper is either a bartender or a person with similar access to late-night drinkers. And maybe the theory's right, but others claim the men are falling to the hands of a much more sinister and disturbing MO. Cyber sleuths have repeatedly compared the deaths at Lady Bird Lake to a series of mysterious drownings going back as far as 1997. Those deaths have come to be known as part of a different theory called the Smiley Face Killer. Now, while I personally don't link SFK to Austin myself,
I feel
we should
like
briefly
this is
talk
it.
about the topic before I tell you what I think might be happening. The Smiley...
Now, I'm telling you guys, I can't get this out of my head. What's up? Don't dive. The Raging Cajuns in the house. This has been bothering me. You can ask Molly. I've talked to her about this. They're saying that They don't want to link this, but I'm telling you guys, the MO is so similar. And I said, what if this person, like for instance with Chicago, okay, police started to get close, maybe, okay? People started paying attention. People out here like me start covering that. And this person was getting nervous, so they move on to a different area. It's not that hard to believe. You know what I'm saying? The MO is so close in line that it's really driving me nuts. This mirrors a new season of oh yeah. I think that's what it's based on, to be honest with you, Candace, truthfully. Yes, Crystal. More than I can stay. It's driving me crazy, you guys, because I told Molly, this really does mirror this in a lot of ways, guys, and I can't let it go. I can't.
Smiley face killers, or smiley face murders, is a theory fronted by ex-detective Kevin Gannon. It dates back as far as 1997, when 23-year-old Patrick McNeil drunkenly stumbled out of a bar in Manhattan's Upper East Side. He was never seen alive again. A month later, his body was found floating in the East River near a pier in Brooklyn. While his death was ruled an accidental drowning due to alcohol intoxication, there was no explanation as to what happened to Patrick after he left the bar or how he made his way to the river. Near where he was found, there was graffiti of a smiley face. Over the years, more and more bodies started turning up near spray-painted smiley faces. Kevin Gannon has spent years trying to link a ton of dead bodies across the US to this hypothetical murderous group. But his theory's definitely not without strong criticism. I won't get into it all, but there are a number of good SFK videos out there that dive deeper into the topic. I recommend one by a channel called The Decoder.
These faces, there's some of the more than 40 college-age men who mysteriously drowned. The tragedy spanning 25 cities and 11 states.
That's a great point,
Two
Mike.
former NYPD police officers, say that they are all murder victims linked to what they call the smiley face killings.
Good point, Brian. I mean, and you know what? That would fit into my theory about a traveling killer. If he's an 18-wheeler driver, they're all over the United States, you guys. It fits, okay? Think about it. It fits. So it's a good point, Brian. It really is. The mother of Joey reported that she kind of thinks it's like sick people in a van and they just grab the person, torture, but Joey didn't have anywhere. Yeah, that's a good point, too.
So, are the deaths at Lady Bird Lake related to the smiley face killers? They certainly could be. But like I said, I personally don't think so. It's reported that some of the smiley faces that were attributed to the deaths in the original theory were found miles away from where the victims died. That's a bit of a stretch if you ask me. Also, I believe the reason that the smiley faces started being used more in graffiti comes down to a film that came out in 1994, Forrest Gump. Right after that movie was released, smiley faces were everywhere. Bumper stickers, spray paint, posters, t-shirts. It was like a big resurgence from the 70s. And while there have been some smiley faces spotted around Lady Bird Lake, I think it's just a coincidence. We can find these faces all across the world in high abundance, and I would likely attribute this to the "Have a Nice Day" scene in Forrest Gump.
Here, use this one. Nobody likes that color anyway. Have a nice day.
Well, some years later, I found out that man did come up with an idea for a t-shirt. He made a lot of money off of it.
Regardless, the fact of the matter is, men are dying in water at an alarming rate in strange circumstances, specifically in Austin, and authorities don't seem to be seriously considering investigating whether or not the bodies could be related. I think someone better start digging a little deeper.
Tail-wagging welcomes, wet-nose kisses, cuddles, snuggles, and boundless...
I met a guy named who's been living in Austin and was drugged on July 20th of 2023 while he was on a night out at River Street, somewhere between a bar called Better Days and another one called Sidebar. River Street is about 1/10 of a mile from Rainy Street. I'm going to go ahead and let tell you what happened to him right now.
Where I started my night on Thursday night would have been around 10 p.m. at a place called Better Days, right in the heart of the Red River culture.
Now, this one is interesting, guys. Pay attention to this one for sure. Definitely.
District here in Austin, Texas. Just to give you an idea of the proximity of this location to Rainy Street, you can take Red River all the way down from where I was. Red River turns into Rainy Street. You basically make a left once you go straight. Rainy Street is where all these people have been found in the lake. And we've had about 5 or 6 people, I believe, and just in 2023 that have ended up in this lake, and it just doesn't make any sense. So
now, the reason why this is such a big deal, it's happened over a period of decades. That's correct. But most recently in 2023, there's been quite a few. Okay, that's why this got the attention of people. And this is why it got my attention, honestly, and because it kind of matched up with Chicago and New York. So
keep that in mind.
And I even found this happening in the UK, you guys, which that was kind of weird to me about linking it, but you never know. You never know.
Mile, not even a whole mile and a half from that lake to the very bar area that I was drugged in. So I started my evening over at that bar, and it was any other night, dude. I mean, I've been down to the cultural district so many times, never thought twice about being served any drinks. I mean, I can party, man. I can definitely have some drinks. I started my night with some whiskey and Coke, and I had a couple, just 2, and everything was cool, nothing different. We went ahead and hopped on down the road. Off of 7th and Red River, there's a really popular bar called Las Perlas, probably my favorite bar in the city up until this happened, right? And I end up going to Las Perlas, having my margarita. It came out of a draft, not even mixed. So everything's cool. After that, we go over to Sidebar, and I have another whiskey and Coke, and I don't remember a thing after that, hardly at all. But I do have little things I remember here and there. And the main thing I remember was I had that drink around 1:35
Yes,
a.m.
David,
maybe,
exactly.
and we left the bar. I literally walking not even a 5-minute walk, collapse. I'm talking long.
Real quick, Teresa, you said you're late. Okay, so I started this off. There was a third arrest in the Savannah Soto Matthew Guerra case. The stepmother to Christopher was arrested and charged as well. And then I just basically stated, like, what the hell's going on in Texas? This is a case that I've been following behind the scenes it's the Lady Bird Lake scenario. There's been bodies that are being washed up. And it's something that's been going on for a while. And I mentally linked this to a scenario that has been going on in Chicago, New York, all over the place. But this one really caught my attention, and that's why we're talking about it now. There's just the similarities within everything that's happening. There, it's kind of crazy. So that's what it's all about. Yes, Teresa, exactly. No problem.
How and my tongue feels like it weighs 20 pounds. My eyes, I can't open them. I can't tell if I'm standing, sitting, floating. I don't know where I am.
And see, that reminds me with my, experience in EMS of being drugged. Okay. It's the same type scenario. And I'm telling you guys, this has got to be what this is. It's got to be. 16 minutes between 2 cases. Right, Brian? Exactly. No problem.
My friend, tall guy, saved my life that night. One thing that I remember about it that blew me away was the fact that I couldn't do anything. I literally I've never been so incapacitated in my life so fast. It was like a bomb in a window.
Right.
I was like, all of a sudden, all I could remember him saying was like, "Hey man, we need to call my girlfriend." And all I could remember, the last thing I said was like, "Go home." Like, what the? Like, I was so confused, had no clue what was going on. So my friend calls my girlfriend and is like, "Hey, your boyfriend's up. You need to come and grab him. He's had way too much, I think." He gives me a sip of water. I throw up violently.
Right,
My
Teresa.
toes are almost leaving the ground as he's holding me. I go into my girlfriend's car with his assistance. I continue to throw up. I get taken home by my girlfriend. I can barely, I don't even remember anything except falling and hitting the back of my head and my girlfriend screaming, "Get up, get up." 2:33 in the morning, probably thinking I'm pissed drunk, not realizing what's up. God bless her soul. She knows I can party, but I know she's never seen me like this. I know for a
I don't
fact
believe
she's
that,
never seen me
Teresa,
like
at
this.
all.
I've never been anywhere close to this messed up. So she puts me in the bathroom, and I hit my head again in the tub. And
Don't buy another lottery ticket before you see this. Do you want to know how repeat lottery winners are able to win over and over again? 2 teachers at a Florida elementary school one.
At this point, I stay in a bathtub all night, and I don't even remember it. I don't remember any of this. And another thing I think I should mention too, that I failed to mention earlier, one of the things that tripped me out more than anything was I sweated so much. I was so sweaty that, I mean, my shirt must have weighed 2 pounds the next day. I could literally wring it out like a wet rag or a mop in a bucket. My hat that I just bought a week and a half before, tan, looked like I'd worked in it all summer long. I could not believe how much I had sweat the next day. And when I looked at my vomit on my shirt, it almost looked like some kind of weird gel. This was not normal. I knew it wasn't normal. The next day, I awoke at 10 a.m. First thought, what happened? Oh my God, I got a meeting in an hour. I go and take care of things, and immediately afterwards, I start checking my text. My girlfriend sends me a recollection of everything that happened that night. I remember none of it. My friend, he saved my life, and I'm so grateful for that. He texts me, he's like, "Hey dude, just want to make sure you made it home all right. Call me." I call him. He's like, "Hey man, I just think you got too f***ed up last night." And I go, "Dude, we've partied all night in Vegas till like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Molly.
Walked around cognitively, walked home, not a problem. Bro, I had 4 drinks last night. I couldn't stand up. I didn't know which way was up. I didn't know what was going on. It's like, this is the most f***ed up thing that's ever happened to me." It's like in my eyes, my head, I just feel like my central nervous system is just on fire. I just feel like I avoided like the most crazy thing that's ever happened to me. Well, later on that evening, I decided to make a post on Reddit about my experience, and many other people came forward with the same exact story. And because I hadn't went to the hospital, I just thought I'd walk it off. Saturday comes around, I still feel like shit. Anytime I feel slightly hot and that sweat starts coming, I go into flashbacks. Like I'm immediately just freaked out. My heart starts pounding. I'm thinking it's going to happen again. The whole weekend I was afraid to even eat or even grab food from anywhere. I have no appetite. It was one of the craziest things. And then Monday came around, I went to work and I still didn't feel myself.
And these things, like these side effects, are definite side effects that you get when you've been like hit with Rohypnol or something like that, guys. It happens, the same exact stuff. Your appetite's gone, you're nauseous. Sometimes it takes, depending on who the person is, it takes days, it can take hours. I've heard of people where it takes like a couple weeks to get this out of your system. It's depending on the amount that's been dosed as well. But that's, one of the big things. Like I said, it's the same thing, the same side effects that you get from, like I said, Rohypnol and stuff like that. And that's my thought on this. That's why I can't say that this didn't happen, guys. I really believe this happened. Right, Brian. Yeah, well, you're right, Jay. It could be a psycho bartender that is stalking people. It's freaking, it's crazy. Again, which is why we're covering this.
I seriously felt like I'd lost a big part of myself mentally. I was still there, but I felt so weak and just kind of timid. It's just kind of a weird feeling. Tuesday comes around and I decide to go to my primary care provider, and I break down and I tell them, I'm like, somebody I think tried to kill me. I'm positive I was drugged. I know myself. Like I said, I've partied a lot in my day. I'm no rookie. I know my limits, and I never let it get that bad. I go in to get an EKG. They take my urine. They take my blood. They hear my story, and my doctor's jaw drops, and she goes, "Well, I just talked to somebody with our office, and there's been 4 other people that have came from the same exact bar that have had the same exact story just this week." And another thing that's crazy, I was overheating so bad, I literally don't know how I made it out alive.
Molly, agreed.
I've traveled the world, and then not even a mile and a half from my house, man, I get drugged. I have a killer memory. I've never blacked out in my life.
Yes,
and I'm very glad that I have a wonderful friend.
The happy face killers was different than what the smiley face scenario is. They're two different stories. I always get them mixed up, but yeah.
That watched out for me that night. A fucking angel, dude. He saved me. You can call me crazy. I know that what happened to me is going to make me passionate and like really double down on what I'm saying. But having experienced that drug, I mean, I've never taken any hard drugs in my life. Keep that in mind. But I smoked a lot of weed in my life, dude. And I drink and stuff like that. And this shit was so fucking strong. And it was my fourth drink. It just doesn't seem right. And the next day, I was not even hungover comparatively to some of the nights where I would have walked home. And I felt much worse on those days. So something didn't add up. And, that's really where I'm at with this. I'm a 38-year-old bald-bearded dude who wears Patagonia shorts and freaking rock and roll t-shirts. I never seen this coming. There's something evil going on in this city.
According to many Reddit and Facebook users that frequent the bars in this area, people getting drugged around this location is very common. Almost everyone from Austin that I've spoken to has a story about themselves or a friend that has gone through this horrible experience. And one of the bars that locals keep mentioning is the Sidebar. Sidebar is owned by the same person who owns Better Days. These are the two bars he was in the night he was drugged.
See, this is where this gets interesting to me. The Sidebar and Better Days are owned by the same person. And these two bars are very much frequented around this situation, guys. So this part here is quite interesting to me. Very much so. Exactly, Molly. David says definitely GHB stays in the system for 8 to 12 hours. It cannot be detected. That's what my thought is. And it, like I said, we talked about this before when I covered the other cases out of Chicago. It just doesn't, it matches up way too much. This part of this here, though, pay attention to this because this is interesting to me.
Unfortunately, Better Days has no cameras, and even though I myself reached out to the Sidebar to view the CCTV from the night he was drugged, the owner told me he was only able to capture video of the night from about 1 a.m. on. The rest had been overwritten, which is odd, considering claims to have contacted him just a few days after the incident. If it were me, the very first thing I'd do would be save the footage from the night in question. But he didn't. Maybe his cameras overwrite every day. I don't know. But if multiple people have reported being drugged in your venue, then you should make sure your security is at its peak for the safety of your customers. At bare minimum, you should have working cameras and make a big PSA via your social media pages to warn people about the potential dangers of this kind of crime. If this has happened multiple times in your venue, then you need to do something more to protect your clients by way of awareness. That will boost your reputation, not cause harm to it. Seems like some of the bars in Austin need to do more.
I have come home and I have stood at the base of the steps just dreading the 40s.
It's important to remember that while everyone is watching their drinks, most people feel no threat from a joint or a vape pen. We as people also need to be more cautious and careful when it comes to all kind of consumption, especially when we're around strangers. And again, I'm not just talking about alcohol. Barnstable Police in Boston warned that altered vape cartridges can contain GHB or other drugs that are used to assault and rob people. They released a statement warning people not to use vape pens from strangers. The press release went out in June of 2022 stating, "The Barnstable Police Department has recently received another report of patrons at a local bar feeling the effects of possible date rape drugs. Although there have been no assaults reported at this time, members of the Barnstable Police Department have been actively investigating these incidents. As a result of..."
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do a little digging and see if we can come up with if any of the owners of these places possibly own things in Chicago as well. That to me will That'll magnetize it right there.
The ongoing investigation, information is developed that the method of ingestion of these drugs may not just be drinks. It is possible that the substance is being delivered via altered vape cartridges. Based on this new information, the department is urging individuals that are gathering in social settings to not only keep a close watch on their beverages, but to also avoid sharing or using vape cartridges from unknown people. Be vigilant.
Now, where are you located, Crystal? Don't tell me Chicago. Yes, very, very much so, Molly. You're in Chicago. You're in Illinois? Oh, shit, Mikey. Has this happened in your, like, have you seen this in your realm of area, Crystal? Interesting. Then I'm definitely going to be looking into that. You're in Chicago. Okay, bingo. Okay. Thank you, ladies. There's my reason right there. So it makes you wonder, Mikey, if that sidebar is like a, you know what I'm saying? I'm an hour away from Chicago. Okay, thank you, Teresa. You guys, that's perfect, you guys. You guys are amazing. Damn.
Vigilant, aware, and consume whatever you consume only with those you trust. Ensure solid communication between yourself and your group. Let them know to look for you at all costs if you should suddenly disappear during a night out. And if they can't find you, have them contact the police immediately. This is not paranoia, and it's not a game. It's also worth checking out a device that can test for GHB and roofie medication. It's called the SIP chip. I saw it on Amazon. It's small, and it can tell you if you've been drugged or not, and apparently, it does so pretty quickly. The SIP chip company claims 1 drop of liquid is all you need, and they say it's 99.3% accurate. I'll drop a link in the description down below. There's also apparently something similar that's great for ladies called Undercover Colors. It's a fingernail polish that helps you test for whether or not you've been spiked. I'll link it down below as well. But remember, I have not tested either one of these products, so do your own research as to what chemicals they can detect and how efficient they are. But surely if GHB or GHB-causing substances had been used on the victims of Lady Bird Lake, the medical examiner would have tested for it, right? Well, according to online reports, GHB can be out of your body in as little as 12 hours. But a report on Science Direct called Drug Facilitated Crimes, Do Not Forget to Test for GHB in Hair, addresses the problem specifically stating, hair analysis remains the only solution to investigate these cases. The report cited 2 different offenders who used the same exact MO at different times. These offenders posed as taxi drivers and offered their victims a laced bottle of water upon entering the vehicle. Shortly after consumption, the victims became confused and barely conscious before losing motor skills. They woke up at home the next morning, suffering from amnesia. Their money and belongings had been stolen. Hair samples of the victims were collected 3 to 4.5 months after the offense. The results were sufficient enough to aid a judge to charge 4 different fake taxi drivers with theft by trickery and administration of poison. Investigation into household products presumed to contain GHB or its cousin GBL is ongoing. But when it comes to drugging a victim, there's also the possibility that GHB isn't the chemical being used, but a compound called 1,4-butanediol, also known as BDO, has a slower onset than GHB. And from what I understand, once this BDO is ingested, it becomes GHB in the body. This would give criminals time and likely add to the confusion of when and where things happen the next day after a victim has been dosed and robbed. And while GHB would have a rather salty taste, word is BDO comes across as just a strong alcohol. Many report that BDO, or 1,4-butanediol, is like the crack version of GHB. Of course, this is all just my interpretation of several articles, so remember to research this for yourself. I've also read posts from users of BDO who claimed that when they're taking the substance for recreational purposes, they found it extremely hard to get the dose consistent and right. A certain measured amount of the chemical might equal a good time one night, but Then a week later, the same amount of BDO might have you on life support or worse.
I'm
But
around
where the
that
hell did
area
chemicals
too,
like
SRB,
BDO even
actually.
come from? Well, as it turns out, BDO was being heavily manufactured and sold illegally in Nederland, Texas, under the guise of two companies owned by the same person. In 2020, a company called Right Price Chemicals and another called Jake's Fireworks had been operating as a front for selling BDO to people. Right Price Chemicals distributed BDO in 48 states across the country.
Do this every morning to clear stuck mucus from lungs and breathe easy all day long. Short or weak breathing is easy to...
Sales of which generated $4.5 million. Investigators claim at least 2 deaths were associated with the product these businesses were selling. And while those who peddled BDO for the company claim it has use in industrial cleaner solutions, the DEA says it has no household applications. Jake's Fireworks and Right Price Chemicals were eventually caught due to a package intercepted in Florida. The owner of the two companies, Jake Ellis Doherty, was convicted and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Many of those who helped Jake in his BDO dealings evaded jail time and are walking free right now, including some of his own family members.
I picture him, in the river. I picture somebody hurting him and he's just left. I think he was drugged. I think he was overserved. I think he was lured over there. I think they're connected. They're too much the same to be a coincidence. It's like, APD's reading from a script.
While there's no proof,
Exactly.
I do believe that more than some of the deaths around Lady Bird Lake involve victims who may have been drugged with something like BDO in an attempt to rob them. Even some of the victims who still had their wallets or small amounts of cash on them might fit this criteria if you take a second to consider what might be happening. If men are being drugged by people who want to rob them, I would imagine the assailants aren't trying to kill, but rather incapacitate their victims for long enough to drain them of their assets, oftentimes via their phones by way of fingerprints or some other form of trickery which can be orchestrated to gain access to mobile devices. Biometrics are convenience with a curse. I find a 4-digit PIN much safer. But what happens in those cases if a victim accidentally ODs and loses their pulse during the robbery? I would imagine the robbers have to get rid of the body, and where better to do that than a body of water? I mean, what would you do mid-robbery if a victim dies? Would you take the couple $100, phone, and wallet from the dead victim? Well, you'd be stupid if you did, because when the body turns up, missing valuables would be an obvious indication of foul play which would spark a local investigation. That's something you wouldn't want if you plan to keep robbing in that area. But if a body's found in the water with no signs of struggle, alcohol in its system, and it isn't missing valuables, it's much more likely to be labeled an accidental death or a self-inflicted one. I firmly believe that that's what's happening in Austin around Lady Bird Lake. I personally feel that someone is drugging unsuspecting men in Austin and robbing them possibly while posing as a taxi driver or something. Then when the drugging turns deadly, the body is discarded in the lake where evidence is washed away by both water and time. Many of the victims pulled out of Lady Bird Lake likely weren't tested for GHB effectively, if at all, and that doesn't sit well with me. But wait, a lot of people who have survived being drugged in Austin claim they began exhibiting the effects of that while still inside the bars. So how does that connect to the taxi theory? Well, I think it could be a crew of robbers. In this crew, there may be multiple of what I call fishermen. These fishermen may be placed in the bars where they blend in with other customers for the purpose of dosing them. After, let's say, a line is cast, the fisherman could then make the rest of the crew aware of a description and a location of a possible target. But this setup is risky against CCTV and potential witnesses. It'd sure be a lot easier if someone more trusted was the one doing the fishing. Someone, least.
I think they need to set up a sting on this, you guys. Seriously. That's my opinion on this. What's up, Clue? I get drugged there. Lesbians we used to hang out with. It was a great time. Right. Hey.
Likely to be suspected. Now, one thing that I found interesting is how the bar scene works in Austin. Unlike anywhere I've lived, bartenders in Austin can work in multiple bars around the town, even if they're not owned by the same person. As a matter of fact, people are known to tag multiple bars looking for shifts on Instagram, and bars do the same in reverse when they're short-staffed. This is often a quick way to earn some extra cash in the bar scene. But this also means the bar may not have fully vetted their staff or even worked with some of them long enough to develop a significant line of trust. This might explain why people are being drugged in multiple bars in Austin and no one is being caught. It doesn't take much to be an entry-level bartender. There's even a chain of schools in the US called ABC Bartending. According to some who've taken the course, it's cheap and only around 30 hours of time before you get your certificate. Probably easy enough to get part-time work with that, I assume. So if there is a crew drugging men in Austin, it wouldn't be hard to have a few people on that crew working shifts in multiple bars, dosing men they think might have a valuable pot to split. The hypothetical scenario could play out like this. Bartender doses a target, then lets the crew know about the potential target. Then when the target starts to feel the effects, the bartender might notice, inform the target that they've been overserved, and offer to call them an Uber. A few minutes later, the bartender could let the target know that their cab is out back in a dark and cameraless area. From there, it's all easy. No witnesses, no CCTV, no number dialed from the victim, just robbery and amnesia hours later. Unless the victim happens to OD.
Thank you, Molly.
Is this what's been happening in Austin? I don't know. It's certainly more feasible to me than smiley face killers. But this is all just my opinion. But I did stumble upon some stuff that I found both alarming and very interesting. On February 12th of 2022, a man named Raj told KVUE-ABC that he was drugged after a night out on West 6th Street in Austin. At around 10 p.m., he attended 3 bars before being separated from his 2 friends. But after the second bar, around midnight, Raj claims he doesn't remember a thing. The next moment he recalls is waking up at home at around 9 a.m. feeling super groggy. When he checked his phone, he realized that someone else's device was in his phone case. Raj got up and quickly went to the Apple store for help, only to find that his Find My Phone option had been turned off and his iCloud account email address had been changed. But then things got even weirder when he saw transactions in his email for over $2,000 sent to a random guy he'd never heard of. Raj's phone was stolen and his bank accounts were drained. They also made off with his credit card and emptied his debit card using Apple Wallet on his missing phone. They even tried to sell off all his stocks, but were unsuccessful due to the market being closed for the weekend. When Raj searched the email that was used to make Venmo transactions, he found that random guy I mentioned before on Facebook and promptly got in touch. And that's when it got even stranger. This random guy also woke up with someone else's phone in his phone case. He too had been out that night on Rainy Street. This guy said his accounts were drained as well. Raj was out around $13,000 after his accounts were liquidated and his cards were swiped at places like Target and Walmart. Pretty scary situation to be in, especially with zero memory of what happened. Ryan Morrissey, the medical director for the Central Texas Poison Center, told CBS Austin that spiked drinks are a common thing. He said in most cases prescription medication is used, as GHB and Rohypnol are no longer the typical go-tos when it comes to this type of crime. He said nowadays it's a liquid called 1,4-butanediol. Yep, the chemical we talked about earlier. And as I stated, if you aren't tested within hours of ingesting it, it can be gone in as little as 12 hours. Raj later claimed on February 16th of 2022 in a Reddit post that 3 different people contacted him with similar experiences to his. 2 from the same Saturday night he was targeted, and 1 from October of 2021. On February 22nd, Raj updated his post to add that a few more victims had contacted him with similar stories. Police reports from 2022 show that 2 individuals were arrested for various crimes in relation to Raj, including drugging, robbery, and assault. As of December of 2023, lead detectives say the case is still ongoing. I want to make it crystal clear that these arrests were in relation to Raj and the 3 other victims that were drugged in Austin in 2022. There is zero concrete evidence that Sharon and Tamia are related to any of the other Lady Bird Lake cases, nor am I saying they are. Once again, it's my theory that these men were targeted, drugged, and robbed in a methodical, organized, and intentional way. All this time, local authorities haven't provided much of a comment while they continue to investigate, and the party line is that these tragic deaths were accidental. But I think there's much more to this than meets the eye. At the same time, there have been separate instances of drugging-related robberies around the country, as well as in downtown Austin. Before I get into this next part, please know that I'm not personally accusing any particular individual of any wrongdoing. especially any acts these individuals have not already been arrested and
Pay
charged
attention to this
with. I'm
next
just
part.
disclosing facts of previously closed cases. I'm not saying that it's an absolute fact that the people I will discuss next are in any way related to the deaths at Lady Bird Lake. In fact, it should be noted that these individuals have not formally been charged with any crimes related to the lake, and investigators or detectives have not publicly tied them to any of those acts. Nevertheless, the fact that these drug-induced robberies have become so common around the country and in Texas generally is a sign of trouble that may not be going away anytime soon. So with all that said, let's get into this. On October 19th of 2022, Austin Police Department announced the out-of-state arrest of 44-year-old Sharon Jacobs and her 23-year-old daughter, Tamia Jacobs, for drugging and robbing 4 men in downtown Austin during February of 2022, 2 on the 11th and 2 on the 12th. All victims were either on Rainey Street or West 6th Street. Reports claim the women flew into Texas for the purpose of their accused crimes. Apparently, the women rented a car for this purpose. They were also reportedly even registered as drivers on rideshare apps.
When you have these woke revolutions, it requires all of us at some point to say no, not
apps.
Now, see this part, that's why I said pay attention. This part's very interesting to me. Remember how I stated the traveling serial scenario? Listen to this, guys. This was interesting to me.
Sharon and Tamia Jacobs are accused of robbing more than 55 grand from multiple victims by drugging them with over-the-counter medications and posing as rideshare app drivers. There's no mention of how the men ended up getting drugged, but the crazy part is that 5 additional suspects are believed to be involved in this crime spree that saw transactions of the victims' money being made throughout Texas, Georgia, and even Tennessee. Tamia Jacobs was arrested in Fulton County, Georgia on October 10th of 2022. When her phone history was searched, they found that she had looked up different types of medication that can cause tiredness. Tamia's mother, Sharon Jacobs, was arrested in Bay County, Florida, on unrelated identity theft and larceny charges on August 30th of 2022. But that wasn't Sharon Jacobs' first crime of this nature. As a matter of fact, on July 5th of 2017, she and her escort friend Dorothy McLathery were arrested in Atlanta after tricking a 22-year-old man into getting in their car. Sharon and Dorothy were pretending to be an Uber. Once he realized they weren't legit, he tried to exit their vehicle at a gas station, but Sharon and Dorothy brutally attacked him in an attempt to rob him. Luckily, a witness at a nearby restaurant called 911 and foiled their plans. When police searched the car the two were driving, they found a pink photo album filled with more than 100 credit cards from different victims, as well as a card reader. Sharon Jacobs was also arrested with Erica Williams in Florida for similar crimes in October of 2021 as well. It seems like Sharon has allegedly been teaming up with different people to rob men in multiple states, including the exact state, city, and streets where some of our victims.
Look at all the different variations of these pictures, you guys. Okay? This is interesting to me. I want to talk about this after the fact if anybody would like to talk with me about this as well.
That Lady Bird Lake went missing. Isn't that a strange coincidence?
Welcome.
Could a similar scam potentially be connected to any of the bodies we talked about previously? Have APD and the medical examiner done enough to rule out the possibility that some of these men just may have been drugged before ending up in the water? I have no clue. Your guess is certainly as good as mine. As for what happened to Sharon Jacobs, well, according to a report, she was arrested in Baldwin County, Alabama as a fugitive of justice about a month after the last victim, John Christopher Hayes Clark, was found on April 15th of 2023. Since Sharon's arrest, there has been one other victim found that I haven't mentioned. That man's name is Moga. He was found on June 27th in Lady Bird Lake, but there's not a lot of information available on him. He was in his 20s. I have spoken to a member of his family and they're just not willing to speak publicly right now. But based on what I know, I personally don't believe Moga is connected for reasons that I will keep to myself, and that's just out of respect. There are a lot of missing details, but according to the APD report, we do know that Sharon worked in Austin with a crew of at least 6 other people according to police documents. And we still don't know the identity of those people. It doesn't appear like APD does either. If this is an organized crime crew, then I'm sure they'll continue to do what they do in her absence. Could a drug-facilitated crime be the fall of any of the men in Lady Bird Lake? If so, How often does this type of thing occur? Well, asking that question opened up a whole can of worms, let me tell you. Through my research, I simply wasn't prepared for how often this scam is pulled around the United States. I also wasn't prepared for how light the sentences are for the women convicted of drugging and robbing people. There are a ton of repeat offenders out there, almost always under the guise of an escort or some kind of taxi driver. And these women often work in pairs. I can't cover them all in this video, but for instance, there are people out there like Danette Colbert, who is literally accused of almost identical crimes as Sharon Jacobs in multiple cities across the US. I've personally spoke to and keep in contact with 3 of the victims she allegedly stung in New Orleans. There's also Dominique Berry. She was also based out of New Orleans, but she was drugging people all around the US in order to rob them, and she did so with the help of her pimp, Randy Ruru Shank.
These things made me wonder if this is a ring, okay, because of how widespread some of this has been. I've been really like, and this, when this was added, I was like, whoop, hold on.
Her crimes spanned through Louisiana, Texas, and Georgia too. The couple were reported to have robbed anywhere from 50 to 100 people throughout their crime spree. It all came to an end when a man tracked his stolen phone to a hotel in Sandy Springs, Georgia, which is odd considering that Sandy Springs is one of the places Sharon Jacobs was sending money to when she was allegedly out drugging and robbing men in Austin. One of Danette Colbert's victims also told me that he saw transactions of his money coming out of Nederland, Texas, or Nederland. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but that's the same town Right Price Chemicals and Jake's Fireworks were operating out of when they were selling BDO. What do I know? It could all be a coincidence. I do know Dominique Berry and Randy Shank are currently in jail as their drugging robberies resulted in the death of one of their victims. So these kind of crimes are not something to laugh about. These are not violence-less crimes. People can and do die because of them.
What is going on and why can we not find any answers about what happened to our children? I mean, how would you like it if your children went out on a Friday night, Saturday night, and didn't come home for 3 or 4 or 5 days, maybe 8 days, and then you find them dead, or you find them with huge injuries that they're going to live with for the rest of their lives that you cannot repair and you cannot fix. And the police department cannot tell you anything about what happened with your child. Nothing. They have no answers other than they walked off. And it might be their fault that they went off this bridge, or they went off into the lake, or they went off into wherever.
Multiple people have gone missing with no change, no progression into the cases, ruling everything is accidental. And it's not. Something's going on. Something is. And I got to meet Jason's family, and it was like staring in a mirror with my family 4 years ago. There's so much pain coming back every day. I saw everything that they're going through.
It's shocking how few people are signing up for their Camp Lejeune Justice Act claim.
Local authorities in Austin, and in particular around the Rainy Street area, claimed they're putting their resources into improving the safety of the environment. In response to public calls for action on the alarming rate of deaths at the lake, the police have increased foot patrols in the Rainy Street area, and the city council has been trying to improve the lighting and the barriers on the trails. In order to enter the water, a person would need to climb over a fence and make their way down a relatively steep trail. This is not a situation where a drunk person would likely fall over the rail and just slide into the water. According to what I've been told by people who live in Austin, it would take a lot more effort to get from the trail to the water's edge, which is a factor that seems to have been widely overlooked in the statements from authorities so far. If there were security cameras on the trails, we no doubt would have captured the final moments of at least a few of the victims, and maybe it would have indeed shown them drunkenly stumbling along the trail, over the railing, down the bank, and into the water. But I don't believe these men just happened to wander out of a bar and magically end up in the water by accident. I believe there's a crime ring connected to this, but I don't have any solid proof. What I do know is that similar crimes have occurred across America. Most recently in New York City, where the deaths of 2 men who've been robbed and drugged has been ruled as a homicide. These 2 men were killed as they left bars in Hell's Kitchen. John Umberger, 33, and Julio Ramirez, 25, were killed after they left bars in Hell's Kitchen. Their assets were drained from their possession via the control of mobile devices, just like what happened in Austin. And Julio Ramirez's body was reportedly found in the back seat of a taxi. At first, police put the deaths down as accidental and moved on. Sound familiar? Thankfully, the family members of these men kept pushing until they found evidence in the form of a paper trail that showed the victims had been robbed around the time of their deaths. They took their findings to the police and had the case reopened. The deaths of these 2 men in New York has since seen the arrest of 6 individuals out of 10, named in a police document alleged to be connected. The other 4 people are sought for questioning. More than a dozen men were interviewed by the New York Times who claimed they too have been drugged and robbed in bars around New York, and a doctor who screened one of the men claimed GHB or something similar was indeed the drug used to incapacitate the victim. What's important to remember here is that the New York Times also printed an article that said, cops initially told the families of New York victims that the deaths were believed to be accidental. The medical examiners did not detect any so-called date rape drug or roofie in either man's system. As already mentioned, such substances are difficult to detect because they stay in a person's system for a very short time. And according to the Justice Department, routine drug and toxicology tests don't normally look for GHB. Of course, New York has its answers, and a clear picture is fast emerging there. If a similar crime ring is working in Austin, these people seem to move around and move fast. I'd guess they likely target multiple victims in one night as an MO. More people, more money. Then bounce to another state with their local foot soldiers on standby until the next round loops back. But again, it's all just speculation, just a theory. Meanwhile, because countless men have died and authorities have failed to find any suspects, the residents of Austin are left waiting to see whether any more.
One of the big things that drew my attention to this, you guys, is they keep claiming this is accidental, that these guys are getting drunk, falling in the water, drowning. There's no water in their lungs. They're dead before they hit the water, folks. There's the problem, okay? Remember that.
Men will be pulled from the deceptively calm waters at Lady Bird Lake. With so much speculation and a community divided over whether or not the deaths are related via foul play, no one can be sure of what's really going on at Lady Bird Lake. But I smell bad intentions. Either way, the water has been very quiet lately with no more bodies turning up for months. Still, there's no swimming at Lady Bird Lake. I'm Mr. Black, and this is the disturbing truth.
I've been searching.
And there it is, guys. Let me pull up this email, Molly. I gotcha. 1 second. Hold on. Okay, well, here's part of it. Thank you for this, Molly. This is what's interesting to me. So, as you notice, we were talking about the relativity of some of the same places, same bars in these same places. Okay, so this is the sidebar, okay, which is one of the main places. Okay, look at all these locations, guys. Austin, Texas, Ogden, Utah, Eugene, Oregon, Oakland, California, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Las Vegas, Nevada, Birmingham, Alabama, Leesburg, Virginia. So this is a chain, okay? And it's happened in these areas: Rochester, New York, Key West, Florida, Orlando, Florida, Boston, Massachusetts, Atlanta, Georgia, Victor. I mean, all of these places, this place exists, and it's happened in these same places, okay? That's interesting to me. There's more. All right, hold on. And then, thank you, Molly, for showing that. And then this was one of the most recent scenarios. This is Maga Dagali, I think it is how you pronounce the name. Yeah, yes, Molly. Yes. Okay. Maga Dagali. And this guy's family does not want to talk for whatever reason. But this was one of the most recent scenarios. Thank you, Molly. Hold on. All right, let me throw this up here, Brian. Threw this up here. And this goes right along with what we're talking about in some senses, too. Thank you, Brian.
A medical student spends the night out with friends, but never makes...
I can't play this, Brian, because it's from the ID channel. I'm sorry, bud. It won't let me. They'll shut it down. What's this one here? Is this off of the same thing? Yeah, if it's ID channel, I can't put it on. This one is different, though. Let me see if this one I can play. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, anything that's like ID channel or history channel and stuff, they'll shut me down immediately. They won't let me play it. This one I can. Like I said, guys, I want to talk about these and this after we're done with these videos and stuff. So thank you, Brian, for this. Good stuff, Molly. Thank you, hon. Good Lord, this guy looks like Stevie Irwin. Jesus, freaky. Exactly, Clue. It sucks really bad. Hey, Vic. Yeah, he does, Clue. Let me know if this is better. It's low, but let me know if you can hear.
As the bar emptied out, Zach was nowhere to be found. His cousins kept calling.
And then he tried it again, and this is like within a 4
Can you hear it now?
span, and it went right in. The voicemail, whether the phone was turned off or the battery went dead.
Zach's dad said his son works full-time and is going to school. He said this disappearance is completely out of character. He said he just wants his son to walk through the door, no questions asked.
Just come home. It's okay. It's gonna be fine.
And detectives with Boston and the Harvard Police Departments are working on this case, also checking surveillance cameras throughout this neighborhood. If you were in the area, you think you recognize
Now, what happened to Zachary? Family and friends of a missing Harvard student looking for answers after the 22-year-old disappeared. WBC's Louisa Moeller's live outside the Bell in Hand Tavern. That's where this young man was last seen. Louisa?
The Bell in Hand Tavern is to her right.
Paula, and the search for answers continues. Family and friends of Zachary Mars reached out to local area shelters for answers, and they also, of course, came right back here to where he was last seen. We go up that road. Zachary Mars' family and friends took their desperate search to the streets Monday, posting flyers in the popular Faneuil Hall area, hoping that someone will recognize this grinning face.
The plan's just to get as much information out as we can, and hopefully someone will have seen him or he'll see it and get in touch with one of us.
The 22-year-old from the town of Harvard was celebrating his birthday with his cousins at the Bell in Hand bar Friday night, when family members say he simply went outside to grab a smoke. And just like that, he vanished.
Zach's never taken off. He's always been in touch with one of us, always.
The only evidence he was even outside the bar that night, an image captured by surveillance video at a nearby business.
He was like a brother to me and my brother. We'd spend so much time at his house with his parents. It's just crazy that he'd vanish so suddenly.
A young man with a full-time job who was taking classes on the side, just gone. Those closest to him doing their best not to give up hope.
I honestly have no idea. I just hope wherever he is, he hears us. I mean, we love him, and just to come home.
The manager of the Bell in Hand made the following statement. We have provided video to his family and the police, and it showed Zachary leaving the Bell in Hand at 1:20 a.m. And the video clearly shows that Zachary did not try to re-enter the Bell in Hand. It does, however, show several other customers leaving and re-entering. He would not have been denied access. Other video has shown he was last seen in front of the garage heading towards the surface artery.
Tonight, there could be new clues in the search for a missing 22-year-old man who was last seen about a week and a half ago leaving the Bell in Hand Tavern in Boston. This as search teams were in the water near Nashua Street today looking for any sign of Zachary Marr.
Bill Shields is live in Boston for us tonight. And Bill, there is surveillance video that shows him in that area.
According to the Boston police, they have new surveillance video that shows Zach Marr apparently right around here. You see the locks in back of me here in the Charles. Apparently he was right around here 10 days ago. They haven't released that video yet, but it prompted a pretty good sized search here by dive teams from the state police and the Boston police from all day today.
This is an important statement made on February 24th. Listen to it again.
But it prompted a pretty good sized search here by dive teams from the state police and the Boston police from all day today. Two dive teams, Boston police and state police, spend much of the day in the murky waters of the Charles River, right at the locks. They were looking for the body of 22-year-old Zach Marr. He's been missing for 10 days now.
We're just worried, sick, we're heartbroken.
Family and friends put up flyers shortly after Zach went missing. He'd been at this bar near Faneuil Hall with his cousins. It was early Saturday morning, the 13th, when he stepped out for a smoke without his jacket. This is the last video of Zach. Then he disappeared.
I'm working 40 hours a week, and he's going to school full time, taking 5 classes. And, you know, the stress of our grandmother passing away, and I just hope that he can come home.
And apparently that surveillance video shows Zach right around here on the early morning hours of the 13th. Nonetheless, a massive search effort has failed to produce any results. Reporting live from Boston, I'm Bill Shields, WBC News. Back to you.
On March 15th, 2016, the body of Zachary Marr was pulled from the Charles River. The body of Zach Marr was found in an area that had already been thoroughly searched by state and local police. It was close to the state police barracks and the Museum of Science. I'll show you here on the map. The red flag shows the Bell in Hand Tavern in the center of Boston, and his body was found to the northwest, close to the Museum of Science. Zachary Marr was missing for 32 days. Near where the body of Zachary Marr was found were the words, "Empty-handed I entered the world, and barefoot I will leave it," scrawled on the top of yellow columns. The phrase is taken from a poem written by a Japanese monk in 1360. The full version of the poem is, empty-handed I entered the world, barefoot I leave it. My coming, my going, two simple happenings that got entangled.
That's what they keep saying, Licity, but I have problems with that. I'm sorry.
What's not surprising is that near where the body of Zachary Marr was found, someone spray painted a smiley face. If you like the video, please subscribe and share. The information about the poem was from a blog, Cryptid Antiquarian, so go check that out. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Brian, for that. Another horrific addition to this, sadly. I just this is crazy, guys. There's too much of this that matches up. Okay. The other one I wanted to play, Brian, I'm sorry, but it, like I said, it's from the ID channel, and they'll just shut it off. They won't even let me play for more than a few minutes, and they'll shut me down. So, Brian says, guys, what is so sad with Zachary is he is not from the area he lived in, smaller away from there. Thank you. Thank you. So this is, like I said, guys, I wanted to talk about this after the fact. Hold on a minute here. Let me see something. Okay. Okay. One moment. All right. So, like I said, I wanted to talk about this with you guys after the fact. I'm going to open up panel for this and or the phone lines as well. Give me 1 second here. And let me double check something with this. I'm going to make sure I don't have any more mail on this that I missed. Hold on. I do. That's right, Miss Molly. I knew I saw one. Hold on a minute. Okay, that first page didn't drop, Molly. It wouldn't allow. Hold on a minute.
Not out there.
Okay. Oops, sorry guys, I didn't mean to do that. There's a lot of these different variations of this. I can go back to those. I'm sorry. What are we talking about with why wouldn't he go back in? I'm lost on this. Yeah, that's a good point too, Robert. Oh, about the guy that he didn't go back in. I don't know. It's what I don't know. It's interesting to say the least. All right, there's the link. And let's be polite when we come up here. I know you guys are. I don't know who's all gonna jump up, but hold on a minute.
What's up, brother man?
What's happening, buddy? Hold on a second.
Chilling.
I'm trying to fix something.
Killing.
So, there it is. It's pinned. Now, you did you see all of this stuff, or did you come in after the fact?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I saw most of what you were going over. I just have a hard time like staying in chat for too long because my fingers hurt and I gotta take a break.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. That's why I wanted to talk with everybody. I want people's opinions on this because, like I said, a while back. What's up, Clue? A while back, about a year ago, I covered a case out of Chicago that was just like this, and you know, we have the happy face killer, the smiley face killer. We have this, we have that, but it was the same MO, literally the same MO. You know, got all male victims coming in a bar district, you know, and they're leaving bars, and they're always being left as in they got drunk, fell in the water. Every time. There's no foul play. There's no this. There's no that.
That's a crock of shit, dude.
Most of these are when the autopsies come back. There's no water in them.
Diego, you're really staticky right now, brother.
Staticky. Hold on, it's my phone being too close to my microphone. Sorry.
Like to see like his phone or something got close to the.
Yeah, I moved it. It should be okay now. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I need clarification on that one guy we were watching on the video.
The Zachary guy?
Yeah, he leaves to go smoke a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
His jacket's inside.
Mm-hmm. And then he doesn't come back.
Well, someone said they wouldn't let him back in the bar. Is that true, or he just didn't come back in?
That's a good question. I may have misheard that. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it back up for you. 1 second. What the hell are you mowing on? Sounds like you're enjoying something. You
right, Willie?
I was just coughing.
That was a cough?
Yeah. But
oh, it sounded like you were getting it or something.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Hold on a minute here. Yeah, I've been intrigued by this though, you guys. That's the thing because
Hi, this is William Ramsey.
It looked to me. I'll get to this one here in a second again. Brian says, and on the way out, he did tell a bouncer he was just going out for a smoke. And why would they not allow him to come back in? Is what I don't understand.
That's where I go with that, because somebody said he told the bouncer he was going out for a smoke, and then when he came back, the bouncer had switched. But
different bouncers, okay.
How do you? I don't understand. Like, it's a bar. Is there a reservation? You know what I mean?
Oh, I know. Here's the thing. See, there he is standing outside smoking a cigarette, whatever he's doing. I've walked out of bars.
Refused to let him return.
I've walked out of bars where I wasn't allowed to go back in before because I was too drunk.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case with this, but the dude's coat and everything's in the bar. They would have at least allowed him to go back and get that, I would think. Okay.
Yeah, but if you got friends in there, why aren't you? I don't understand why they wouldn't let him back in. Like, I could see, like, did he not have his ID? Was that? But
maybe that was it. Maybe his ID was in his jacket.
Most men keep their wallet in their pants. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But now, like, dude, listen, I've been really, really drunk, like really drunk, and I've gone, you know, skinny dipping with chicks and shit like that. I've never once like thought I was gonna, like wasn't capable enough to swim to not drown. So like
Yes.
to say that there's no
Look,
foul play is, in my opinion, just stupid.
that's how I am. Like, I don't care how drunk you are. Like, you can still, not like they say, you get all disoriented. You don't know which way is up. You don't know which way is
Bullshit.
down. And I'm like,
Once that water hits you, I mean, it kind of, brings you back to, whoa,
That's
like, your instincts.
Thank you.
Like-
That's one of the biggest problems I've had with this. Unless you're drugged and your body doesn't react in that sense. I mean, I would still think it would wake you up.
even
Absolutely.
if his phone was inside, you could tap on the window maybe and get somebody's attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
just,
Well, if he had his phone on him, he could have called into the bar and said, "Hey, like if he's in there with friends, like, yo, bro, I'm stuck out here. What's up?"
well, and
Yeah.
in that later
Oh.
picture of him where it shows him from the side, it almost looks like he's on the phone.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
But I got confused with you in the comments, Dago, because like people are saying, like, I know they're saying there was no foul play, but during the toxicology report, wasn't there something in the system or no?
This one here, I didn't catch that. Brian, did they find something in his system on the toxicology report?
Yeah, like if you got your phone, why you're not calling the people inside? Why aren't you calling the people that you're with?
Mm-hmm.
Or a cab?
Well,
somebody.
I mean, look, it's cold. He looks like he's freezing the way he's dancing around out there. You can see that's what he's doing.
Well, I'm gonna tell you where my suspicion immediately goes. Right, this is just off the cuff from what I'm hearing right now. It's an inside job, something to do with the people that work at this bar, because it's a little convenient that you go out with one bouncer and they just happen to take a break and switch before you go back inside.
I agree with you, and I'm telling you, this is just one. This is a separate incident from the other ones that we were looking at, and this mesmerizes me the way that this has all happened. And then I saw the end of that other story we were looking at, where these women were doing this to some people, and it started making me wonder: is this a ring that is,
exactly?
You know what I mean? Because it sure as hell looks like it to me. Okay.
Yeah.
There's too much of a coincidence that goes with this, too, you guys. So.
And like I said, I mean, I missed a little bit because I went over to Clues for a little bit. Now, are all these individuals like having their money, bank accounts, everything like drained, or like is there robbery involved with this? Hello?
There had been, in the cases that they showed, that there had been a few where their bank accounts were completely drained. One of them, they found the guy dead in the back of the taxi.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other that disappeared, that like over $12,000 was stolen out of the account.
So that's what I mean. So that's what I mean. That's what I would try to differentiate between all the murders is like the motives behind them. Because if no money was stolen from this person, but everything was stolen from this person, in my opinion, like that wouldn't be like
and I
a
don't know.
ring.
I don't know if they're linked, right? I'm just saying that the MO on a lot of like the Chicago scenario and then the Texas scenario with the Lady Bird Lake, it's just so in line with each other that it bugged me. Like it's too much. Okay.
Now, is this all happening in Texas?
Yeah, the newer ones have, and it's been going on for a while. But yeah, the newer, most recent ones that I was talking about are happening in Texas, in Austin, in that Lady Bird Lake area.
And what was the most recent?
Oh shit, Molly, do you happen to have the the most recent one?
Well, I'm just wondering because like I didn't mention the chat to be political. I'm being serious. You know, when Texas is on the border of Mexico and they have a border crisis right now. So I don't know if resources are being dumped into that rather than being able to be dumped into this, and more resources being able to be used towards catching these individuals.
Here's the thing though, Willie, and it was July was the most recent one. The thing is the police are saying in everyone that I've looked at most recently that it's all accidental. There's no foul play, accidental drownings, this, that, and everything else. But then when the autopsies are coming back, they're not showing water in the lungs or stomach. That's not drowning. I'm sorry. Just like with Kelly Rodney, like you stated.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. What like so
they went in the water.
So yeah, so I mean, have the families or has anybody gotten a second like opinion? I mean, well, I guess no, because you're saying that the autopsy is still going to show no water in the lungs. But
The police are dropping it. Molly, do you still have that one form that we looked at? It was a document you showed me, and it showed what the police were saying on all of them. On the one end of it, the dead end side of it, the police showed everything that the police were saying to that one you had sent me a while back.
I also want to know how deep this water is because, you know, it's crazy how sometimes you hear people drown in like a foot, 2 feet of water when they're drunk. Bullshit.
I mean, if it has locks, Willie, I would imagine it's pretty deep because the boats go through, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I was asking because, you know, but still, if you fall, okay, you're still, in my opinion, because unless they were on something, again, unless they were drugged, then I can understand. But, like my instinct would be right, you know, just to get right back on the ledge that I had fallen off of. So for this amount of people to fall in and just all of a sudden forget how to swim is stupid.
Yeah, and exactly, CL. It's dumb. Doesn't make any sense.
I think that was a good question that LA. I mean, I know she said she's not trying to sound macabre, but that is
you're right.
Yeah, but Vicky, if somebody held them down, then they would have water in their lungs because like you have to breathe, like that's where water gets in your lungs. You're trying to breathe once you get to your, you know, point of holding your breath, and that's where water enters your lungs. So if you don't have any water in your lungs, you didn't drown.
Yeah.
Which means, guys, that you were dead before you went in the water. You didn't inhale any water into your lungs as you were under that water. So there's the problem. June 27th of 2023 was the last one. And it's funny because when this hit social media, which was back towards the end of the summer, middle to end of summer, when this started hitting social media, surprise, it stopped. What? Weird. Very weird. And I've been following it for quite a while. Heather Fitzgerald says it's between 10 to 16 foot deep. So yeah, I mean, it's possible to drown, but there's no water in their lungs or stomach.
Exactly. And when you're, I mean, you figure now, if I have to believe they drowned, okay, that means that they didn't know how to swim at all. So it's not like they sat there and floated and got tired and then drowned. That means that they went in incoherently and immediately tried to breathe. So immediately water would enter their lungs.
Thank you. And
am I wrong?
No, you're right. And David Clayton, I pointed this out in May or April, I think it was. I don't remember, Molly. I saw this in Chicago. I started seeing this in New York. I started seeing this. I was following every state that I could find this in. Every time I would find one of these stories, I was looking for these, okay? Purposely, because it started to make me feel like, is this person traveling? Okay? Because there's the MO, for the MO to be the same on one or two, okay, I get it. It's a coincidence. But if it's not, if it's that way on multiple cases like this, guys, something is wrong.
Yeah.
Something too close.
Is there like Deo?
It's impossible to drown yourself. Number one.
Well, I mean, I know what you're saying. What are you trying to say, Clue?
Is there any signs of like, you know, abuse?
Oh yeah, some of the bodies were beat the hell out. I mean,
no. I mean the other kind.
SI stuff. Not that I've seen. Okay, but that I don't know if we're getting everything.
What are they? Well, what's their excuse about the bodies being bruised? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. My son's trying to talk to me. Sorry about that.
I don't know if I cut out or something.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I mean, possibly Firefly. The thing is that most of these bodies, I don't know. I can't go with that though. I can't, because here's the thing.
Hypothermia.
I'm going to guess that if these people, even if they're drunk, if they're highly intoxicated, it's cold. If they hit that water, poof, you're sober instantly. You're going to start yelling, screaming, and flailing and freaking
Swimming.
out. Swimming, trying to swim. Possibly.
Jesus Christ! And that, I mean,
But you're
do
not
all these
gonna you're
do all
not
these
gonna
guys
beat
not know how to swim?
you're not gonna beat the shit out of yourself just because you're cold.
No.
No.
And yes, you definitely can get hypothermia.
Beat the shit out of yourself.
But you're gonna make enough noise, in my opinion, to draw attention. This is a bar district. There's people going in and out of bars all damn night long. They're gonna make noise. You're gonna. I'm gonna do that if it's me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying, Dago, is you can't physically drown yourself by like just sticking your head in a bucket and trying to drown yourself. You have to like weigh yourself down. Like you have to physically do something to yourself to weigh yourself down or keep yourself from coming up. You can't just drown yourself.
Your body reacts to that and pushes you to do something.
Exactly.
I know what you mean. This is weird. It's very strange, guys, which is why I've been wanting to bring this up for. Thank you. There it is. Thank you, Molly. I've been wanting to bring this up for a while, but with everything covering this and covering that, and I just figured I would tag it onto the tail end of this because it was going to be a quick deal with this thing. But okay, look at this. June 25th. Let's start back here. July 14th of 2022. Ricky Parks, near 9 East Avenue. Okay. APD, no foul play. Investigation closed. December 10th, 2022. Christopher Gutierrez. APD, no foul play. Investigation has been closed. Pleasant Valley Road and South Lake Shore Boulevard. 19th of December. Okay. 9 days. Josh Moreno, near pedestrian bridge near South Lamar Boulevard. This one's a little different. Shooting, crash, man charged with murder. But that just got thrown in the mix. December 28th of 22. Kyle Thornton, near Congress Avenue Bridge. No foul play. Investigation closed. February 13th of 23. Jason John. This is one of the ones that was in the video. Near 30 East Avenue. Medical examiner. Accidental drowning. Okay, whatever. March 5th. Clifton Axtell. Near Riverside Drive. Medical examiner. Cause of death undetermined. April 1st. Jonathan Honey. Near 10th. This is Rainy Street here. This is one of the places. Accidental drowning. Medical examiner. April 15th. Christopher Hayes Clark. No foul play or suspicious circumstances are involved. Maga. This is the one that I showed you last. Maga Dagali. APD. This is not being investigated as a homicide. This is strange.
Less paperwork.
Yeah, it's strange. Something's wrong with these. I'm sorry, but I don't trust this. And it's not because I don't trust law enforcement. It's not because I don't trust, what's going on. It's because I don't think they're seeing this for what it is. Because I'm thinking that, with these drugs, if these people are being drugged, these drugs are non-traceable. They come out of your body in a very quick period of time, things like that. Okay. That's why I think they're not seeing and they're putting in that there's no foul play with this, except for 1 or 2 of these people. There were 5 bodies in 2023. Thank you, Heather. That's true. And she's right. Sus AF.
That's wild, man.
This is really bothering me. I think about this a lot. And like I said, this is what I do like hobby wise when I'm not doing the live stuff in the background. After I saw that secondary part of that video at the end where they showed the black ladies that were doing this and that, it started making me think, is this like a crime ring? And because these women they purposely flew into Austin to do this.
Yeah.
That's some serious planning. That's
But if
premeditated.
they're not, so like if not all of them are robbed or there's no signs of SA, what's the point?
I get it. And maybe the ones that haven't been robbed, maybe, some of these are just fly-by-night scenarios. They weren't premeditated like those ones were. Maybe that's what I was thinking, Felicity, is the FOIA to get the autopsy results on all of them.
But it still shows a lack of integrity from this department or whatever the hell you want to say to look into cases like this. I mean, how many other ones have they marked off as just accidental that we don't know about?
Right. That's the thing. Sherry's right. If they're testing for GHB or something like that, it won't show. It doesn't show. Therefore, you can't.
What kind of bar was it? Is it just a regular bar? Is it?
The one is the sidebar. That one's involved in a lot of these, and the sidebar, as I pulled up a little bit ago, is all over the United States. There's a bunch of them.
But like what? So what is their typical person going there? Right? Like you got like
Just men. They're all men. Every one of them that's coming in and that's showing up as male.
so
Okay,
it's
they're
not
between
specifically like a gay bar
not
or
all of them. No, And they're
okay.
showing up between 20 and I think 20 and 40 years old in that realm of area. I think there was a couple that were older, but older than like closer to 40. Most of them are young men. And it's just weird to me. Very, very weird to me.
It could still be like an organized thing to rob people because not all of them are going to have anything. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, and that's what I'm
Or
saying.
It could be a hate thing as well.
Maybe some of these are just on scene scenarios where they're hoping that these people have money, and it just doesn't work out that way. Or
right, that's what I'm
like that.
saying. You just
Yeah.
assume or hope that they've
But then
got
it's not
something.
too. But then it's not too organized. Then.
Well, in that part of it, no, you're right. But I think some of these they're in the premeditated aspect, they're looking into these people.
Yeah.
In from another state and say, okay, we're going to hit this guy and then we're going to drain him, and they're
Yeah.
taking a lot of money from these people. That is what I think is where the ring possibly could come in. Some of these others could just be like a fly by night, like I'm saying, scenario, hoping that maybe they have something and they're not.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna hop down. I'll let somebody else come up here. I just wanted to say I think that there, is foul play involved, and they're just being lazy as shit. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I gotta go start dinner. Gonna help my daughter with her homework. But Clue, I'll
Your wife, you there?
pop in later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
What time you guys going live?
I think I set it for 6:30.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, guys.
Around for that
There you
too.
go. I'll probably see you
Bye,
later.
Willie.
See you guys. See you, Chet. Hope you guys have a good night.
You're over at Clues later, bud.
So you said 20 to 40, right? Age range.
Roughly, yeah, they're in that realm of area. So yeah.
That's what fiance was asking. What?
Stay out of Texas, Beyonce.
Well, it's just really weird because it doesn't seem to be any motivation. Like you can't look at somebody and say, "Oh, they got money."
Right. Well, I mean, if they're spending a lot in a bar, maybe. If they're dropping a tab with a credit card, maybe. I don't know. It depends. But there's no cameras, like CL's saying right now. No cameras, no witnesses, and no trauma on the body. They can only list it as an accidental death. That's the problem. Now, a couple of them have had body trauma. That's fact, okay? And they're trying to claim that it's a fall. No way in hell.
Which kind of makes me think that robbery or getting something from them is the motivation because they could have some people. I mean, we're dealing with men, right? And while I agree, not the majority, but a lot of men these days have become what I would consider soft. Not all of them are. So
I know what you're saying. I know what you mean, and it's not really an insult. I get it.
you might run across one who's like, "No, I'm not giving you my credit card." You know what I mean? And then you have to apply force to get that.
Yeah. Men have become a lot more sensitive towards things than they used to be. I agree, and they're not. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's very factual right there. Yes.
But I'm sorry, it's still a little suspect that it doesn't happen to people in the bar next door or down the road. Is that right? Like if it's in a concentrated area, do all of the people, because the one we watched the other night were saying it was only when they went to this certain bar and drank.
Yeah. Right.
That makes me it's someone on the inside of the bar. Like that's where I go.
I agreed with you on that. And Sherry, I agree. They should expand their toxicology testing. With that many being this happening, yes, I agree. There's two bars that we've come. Mikey brought that up too and said, "Are these related? Are the people that own the bars the same bars, the same people?" There's two bars that come up that are the same, that are owned by the same people too. The Sidebar is one of them, and they're all over the damn United States, so it's a franchise in a sense. And then there was the other one. I can't think of the name of it right off the right now, but it's definitely something to look at in that sense. And I'm going to be digging more on this, obviously. I just wanted to bring this up to you guys to see your thoughts on this because it's crazy to me.
The one we watched the other night, I think, started with a P. I can't remember.
That's okay. What's up, Riddler? It's crazy though. The whole thing is crazy to me. I've never heard of them either around here. From somebody told me that there's one in Cleveland, Teresa. I've never seen it. I don't know. I've seen drinks fall off the piers in the water. Nobody drowned because so many were on the pier. Happened many times. Not unusual. This doesn't seem like a bar on the water though. Right. It's not like on the water. It's in like in Cleveland, we call it the flats. Lake Erie is back in the background, and these bars line the street there, and then you can actually dock a boat into the flats, get off your boat and go into the bars, and then come back out, get on your boat and go home. I mean, some of these are like that. Some of them aren't. It just depends.
I mean, you know what though? That could also explain why some of them are beat up. Like, if you ever been hit by a boat?
I know. I've heard. Exactly. If they're in that water for a while and they're banging off the docks and boats and stuff you don't see at night. Excuse me, 100%. And it's some of these larger lakes and these larger bodies of water. There's some big boats that go through here, oil tankers and garbage. I can't remember what they're called, but anyway, they're big. They're not going to see a body floating around the water. They just hit it. So it's interesting. So it's going to be something that's ongoing for me. I'm going to continue to follow this, cover this, and watch this to see what else happens. That's a good point, that Licity, that they could do hair fall. They're not doing it though. It's like they're not worried about it. I even contacted Cleveland. Okay, Cleveland. I can't remember which department. It was their main station, police, to see if this is happening in Cleveland as well. And he said that they've had a couple, but they don't relate them together. They're separate. Like, they don't link these two that they've had, but they're spread out in a period of time. Because I'm thinking, like, the Flats is a huge place, okay? And if it's going to happen in all these other states, I was calling around to see if they're getting the same MO and the same stuff. So I'm going to continue to do that, but it's really interesting to me. It's driving me nuts. I don't know. But that was the second half of what today. The first half, obviously, I'm sure you guys saw the third arrest in the Soto case while you're up here. And you were right. We were right. It's obvious, the floating towel was not floating. So,
yeah.
And I had said, remember that video clue that we watched? I said that I think it might be this woman.
Oh yeah, you knew that was the mama. If the dad's coming out the house, she coming out too to help that boy. And I don't know why that's her stepson, and they're not even married. You know what I mean?
Right. It's crazy. But
it's like I said on my channel, honey, I'm gonna be right here in front of the television when you get back. Let me know how it went.
Exactly. I agree. And now it's coming out that it's her gun too. So. Interesting. Either way, and they're saying for sure this is the final arrest. They don't have any other people, but we'll see, because they said that before. I don't know.
I just don't understand how it all took place. If what they put out, that car is seen in the area at whatever time, and then 9 minutes later, this security camera footage is going. I just don't see how this actually went down at that house, personally.
I get it. I'd like to see footage.
Yeah.
The video footage that they have that they used to figure this out. I'd love to see that. I've been looking for it and I can't find it yet, but eventually I'm sure it might pop up. So that's pretty much it with this. Yeah, Vicky's right. They did say that they knew there was a third person. They just needed more evidence. I will say this, you guys. I said this earlier in the very beginning when I was talking about it. This, in my opinion, was excellent police work. This is the way I would love to see all cases covered and handled like this. And it's funny because this is a very small department, folks. They're shorthanded as hell, and they covered every bit of this the way that they should. The PCAs are written professionally. Everything is the way it's like the dream case when you look at it. Okay. Why can't we get this with everything? It's crazy. Terry said that they took footage from the neighbor's ring cam. That's what I thought from that Facebook video that I saw. It seemed like it was coming from across the street. So yeah, probably the same footage that we were looking at, I imagine. What were you saying, Cletus?
I would say, like, if you compare this to Moscow, right? Why couldn't they be as effective with a PCA as San Antonio? But I mean, the obvious difference is the population and the crime rate. I would say, right, would be.
I mean, I know, yeah, you're right. The crime rate's way higher, way bigger, but it's a smaller department, even than Moscow, in my opinion. So it's little. Maybe that's what it is that they're used to dealing with stuff like this. So yeah, okay. That does make sense. That does make wholehearted sense. You're right. I don't know.
I don't mean to switch back, but I've got a question about
please do.
the situation you were talking about before this.
Mm-hmm.
So in these places where these people have been found, have there been other disappearances of men within that age range at around the same time, but maybe just, they haven't been found, or they're not, in that lake or in the water?
Disappearances. From my understanding, there have been other males that have disappeared that haven't showed up in the water. Yes. And they're not linking it. It's whatever, a lot of them, actually, a whole lot. They just poof, they're gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they go on the registry, missing persons registry, and that's the end of it. Some of them were lucky enough to find in the water. They wash up, they get closure, it's over. The others are still out there. So it makes you wonder. And somebody else asked a question a while back in chat. I agreed with that question, and that's why I'd like to FOIA some of the autopsies on these to see, are they being found with all of their organs? Because that's a thing, guys. It really is, believe it or not.
And that's what I was kind of wondering, right? Is it a situation where, like, something went wrong in the process of whatever bigger scheme is happening here?
Yeah.
And these are the ones that were the unfortunate ones that are, for whatever reason, that's the way they were discarded. And then my other question was, are there any coinciding dates, but with these particular ones that are related to Sidebar or associated with Sidebar, are there any dates that are correlating or within a day or so of each other in different towns?
It seemed to be like the 13th, 14th, 28th. I can't remember all the ones he was showing, but
I'd have to look back to double check that, and I will, because I guess I'm gonna keep following this. That's a good question, though, Cletus. I like that.
Well, I'm just thinking of different scenarios, right? If there is a common denominator there, you ought to see more commonalities.
Yeah, absolutely. Robert Bell says, I believe so. They're saying most are drownings, but no water in lungs. Right. I'd love. That's why I want to get these autopsies and match them. And I'm going to try to match them to the ones in Chicago as well. Brian says, Joey. There you go. Wisdom said Jelani Day. It's got me like, you guys know how this goes. You're following a case, and then all of a sudden these things start making too much sense, and it drives you nuts. That's where I'm at with this.
Well, when they find them, are they floating? Are they
wash up kind of like on the shores and on the sides of this, or some of them have been found floating in the water itself by a boat or whatever. But yeah, it just makes me wonder. Yeah, Carolyn, it's a smaller factor, but one that should not be excluded. I agree. Heather's been following this too. I've guessed it from what I understand. They blocked some of them from FOIA. At least they did. Okay. Thank you, Heather. If you have anything, Heather, that like you think would be helpful with this, you're welcome. If you want to, of course, you're welcome to send it to me. If it could help, because I would really love to know anything that I don't at this point on this. Like I said, I've been following this all the way from when it started in Chicago. Now, here's the other side of this, you guys. The UK has had a lot of this, and it's got the same MO. I know it's on the other side of the planet, but it still has the same MO. So it made me wonder, when it came to that whole thing, is it linked? I can't see somebody traveling from the United States to the UK to do this, but you never know.
It could be a symbol fit, like it could be also like a copycat.
That's that too, yeah.
If it's a group, then they've expanded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think David Clayton was the one that stated there was like
Yeah.
82 guys. That's a big number. 82. My God. But Texas is the one. Texas is the one that really made me jump on this and go, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Authorities estimate there's between 35 and 50 serial killers on the loose in the United States. That's insane.
How many?
35 to 50 serial killers loose in the United States.
I mean, to be fair, that's not really a lot. Like,
yeah, but I mean, to know that we're just walking around our daily lives and all of these people are just living around with, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy a little bit.
yeah, but if you think about how many people are like in the United States, like that. I mean, you
You're
talk
right.
about
It's
a
not a
piece
big
of salt
number. I get
in
it.
a pepper mill. Like that's.
I think one is one too many, period. So,
well, and it kind of speaks to two things, right? The situation of society in general, and then the inadequacy of the overall police force.
Well,
and not knocking cops, but I'm just saying there's just obviously not enough resources if there are that
they don't
many.
have, yeah, that's it right there. I get it.
But the bigger question to me is how the hell do y'all know that?
When I spoke to the lieutenant in the Cleveland police, he told me word for word, exact words. We don't have the time to investigate into all of these because of the daily stuff that they're dealing with. They have a lot of gang activity that they're handling, you know, stuff that's happening in their face, robberies and this and murders and all that kind of stuff, because we just don't have the facilities to handle all of this kind of stuff, to be looking into stuff like that as well as this. And it's like, damn, I get it. But which in turn explains why, again, there's 1,000 kids missing in the city of Cleveland in 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they don't have the resources.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, right? When it's that situation. You've got so much crime, you have to pick which one you're gonna go after, because which one has the biggest threat to the public.
And that's sad to say it like that, but it's a fact. You have to, you know, which is the most important crimes and which aren't. They're all important, but like which one is the most, you know? And it's sad that it has to be done. It's really sad. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate that very much.
I kind of feel like that number is probably, I know I'm going to sound morbid as shit. I don't care. I feel like that number is probably pretty low. 35 to 50 serial killers. I feel like that's probably a huge
There's probably more than that. Yeah, I agree.
Understatement.
That's just what's statistically known, in my opinion.
And you got to look at the people that do it just one time.
Yeah.
They don't do it again, because then they're not a serial killer.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it could be that situation too.
Or look at situations like the 6 women that were found in Oregon. Did they ever say that in fact was a serial killer?
No,
and that's killing. And that's my thing, right? Is if they figure out who did that and they are linked, then there's probably a lot of situations where they're not classified.
100%.
Yeah,
I agree. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah, it's I don't know what the hell is going on in Texas, period. There's more things than just this going on in Texas. You guys saw that story. I was going to put that in here too, but I didn't want to give you guys too much at one time, about the woman that unalived her daughter.
Yeah, was naked outside.
What the hell, guys? Is the water bad in Texas right now or what? I mean,
yeah,
shit.
her daughter was like 6 or something.
Yes.
Well, you know, I mean, I'd probably be an unpopular thing to say. Sorry, maybe I should not say it, but I think Willie had a good. No, Willie said it first. I'm saying it. I think Willie had a good point. It is a border state.
Oh yeah, no, and it has nothing to do with nationality or anything like that. They're dealing with the whole border control issues, guys. He's right. I get that. You know what I mean? And that's where they're focusing a lot of their resources. So in turn, they're not able to pay attention to some of this other stuff. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a fact.
Well, I mean, it's not even so much about them not being able to pay attention. It's about, if you look at, I remember one day this reporter was walking past all the people that were sitting there waiting or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't families coming over here. They ain't like dad and mom and their
Yeah.
3 kids. It's all like grown ass individual men. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Absolutely. It
I
is.
mean,
They're coming here trying to get work to be able to bring their families over after. It's a problem, guys. There's too much of it. It's an overpopulation scenario, and the police can't handle this. I mean, there are large police forces in those areas, but they can't handle that and this at the same time. It's just not possible. I've even read articles where they're bringing in other police forces to help with the border control issues and stuff like that because there's so much of it. Okay. And it's like, damn, it's crazy. Very much crazy. Sherry said militia in her opinion. It makes sense. I got that.
yeah, like that's kind of what I get from looking at all of the people that are coming in. Like, they are literally war fighting age, in their prime, like,
100%. Yes, ma'am.
and alone. They are alone. They don't have no wife and kids in tow. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. Nope. They're bringing them and a pair of underwear in their backpack, and here they are. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So it's kind of freaky. And they're yeah, Teresa, you're right. There's a lot of that too, and that's a big, huge problem, guys. Huge. And Heather really agrees with you, Clue. Really. So crazy. It is crazy. But at this point, guys, I think do you guys have anything else to add or throw out there, Clue? Please.
I don't.
No,
Okay.
I'm just interested. I'm interested in finding some commonalities in that case.
Yeah,
you
now I
talk-
want to go look at this.
Oh, I know. Well, like I said, the MO for the victims, that was what got my attention because they're so common.
Yeah, after you were
They're all
talking about
male.
it the other
They're all
day.
male in that age group. They're all in the bar district. They're all out drinking, and then poof, they're gone, and then they turn up later down the road, or that's next day sometimes.
Yeah, but it's so weird that there's not, like, okay, if you're gonna do SA to them, okay. If you're gonna rob them, okay. But without there being a common theme amongst what they do with them once they have them.
Yeah. And that's true. Robert's right. They are all healthy males. There's nothing unhealthy about them. And we heard from the one survivor who stated that he got all weird feeling. He was all disoriented, this and that. Fell, hit his head, got up, fell again in the bathtub, spent the night in the bathtub. And it took 2 weeks. Well, not 2 weeks. I'm sorry. Like 4 or 5 days to get this stuff like out of his system. He was still feeling the results from it. That is drugging to me, period. And it tells me that I feel like that is what's going on with all of these people because, again, if you're that messed up that you fall into water and you can't make noise, you can't pull yourself out of that situation or at least do something, something's in your system.
Well, the one we watched the other night, it kind of was the same way where, except for there was a survivor and the guy was like, I had friends with me, and thank God they got me home. But
I've seen that one, yeah.
And then you could see they were talking about all these posts online about, yes, this happened at this bar. And it's like at that point, I rule out in my own mind a stranger. It has to be somebody who's serving the drinks.
Some kind of a psychotic bartender that maybe is working with somebody else or is just wanting to see this, I'd be curious to see if they're, in the news when they're pulling these people out. Sometimes you can see people in the background. If there's anybody standing around that looks familiar that you see, you know what I'm trying to say? Like if you see these same people, I'd be interested to see that because it's been stated as a statistic that criminals like to go back to the scene of the crime to see what they've done. So it's just one of them things, you know what I mean? It's very interesting. This has really gotten my attention over the past year. And then when Texas hit, I was like, shit, this is so much like Chicago and New York. And it really boggles me. So I will definitely be following up more with this, you guys. That's a promise. I appreciate your guys' interest in this too, Cletus and Clue. Because it's the commonalities are what really drug me into it.
Yeah, it's extremely interesting in terms of what just I don't know. That's crazy.
That's the one we watched, Lady Bird.
Yeah,
Lake.
yeah.
And there's more. There's a couple other ones. I'm probably going to follow up maybe next week with this. We'll see. There's a couple other videos that I had watched and found. I just wanted to bring that one because that was more of a documentary, and you guys could see the whole scenario with that from the beginning. And these other ones are smaller, but they still relate. You know what I mean? So. So I think that is going to do it for today because, like I said, I don't want to overlap at all. Because of course, I'm going to join you guys as well over there. And I know you said 6:30, right?
Well, Central Time.
Or well, that's an hour, so that that'll give you time to do stuff and you to do stuff or whatever. But I appreciate you guys jumping up here. I really do. It definitely it's nice to see other people have interest in this.
Oh yeah, you got my interest peaked with it for sure.
Well, I was you had mentioned it on another one, and that's why I watched that show on. I found it on YouTube about the ladybird, and I was like, okay,
right.
It's got to be something like there has to be either one or two people, in my opinion, in the bar involved.
Yes.
Like,
makes sense.
You know how hard it is to sneak something in somebody's drink.
Oh, well, unless you're in like a very crowded bar, okay, yeah, you're right. It is. People watch, bartenders watch, unless the bartender's doing it.
Right.
And other people watch that. You like people go in droves now when they go out and they're going help to pay attention to what's going on and make sure that people aren't being drugged. And it happens, like that's why I get nervous when my wife, she doesn't, but when she were to go out on her own, it's like, please, be with somebody, do this, do that. I that would freak me out, and it still does. And I've taken people to the hospital that have been drugged in the ambulance. It's just scary shit. It happens too much and too often to other people. So I don't know. It's a big, I don't even want to call it an epidemic, but it's a problem. I'll just put it that way. In a lot of ways. So I appreciate your guys' interest, and who knows, maybe you guys will cover this and we can just go back and forth with it if it keeps growing and going, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one. They have that nail polish that changes color if the drink's been drugged. They have a couple things they're working with now that helps with that. And there's people that are in place now in some of these bars I've heard that are specifically watching for that, which is a good thing.
Say, what about a nail polish? What?
Huh?
What'd you say about a nail polish?
Oh yeah, there's a nail polish that changes color if like you can literally they have it on their nails, they put it on purpose. You dip that in the drink and the nail polish turns a certain color. It means that there's drugs in that drink. Seriously.
How do they know what drug to test for? Is it?
I don't know if they know which drug it is that just says don't drink this because there's something in here you don't want. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's crazy.
Which is good. Yeah, very smart. And it's just a simple, you touch the drink with your nail and that nail turns. Yeah, David's right. I've heard that too. But there's a lipstick too that's being developed for that.
Well, you wouldn't want to get it near your mouth. I
mean, yeah, you touch it and then it's right. But the thing is yeah, there's quite a few more documentaries on this that I'm going to be going and showing that I've looked at. That one was the most precise one in my opinion. That's why I showed you guys that. But the nail polish thing, I watched a video on it. It was pretty wicked. It showed the girl just touch it, and I think the fingernail polish was red, and then when she touched it on the drink, it turned like green or blue. And I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy." They do have drink condoms. You are correct, Tomboy. That's fact.
They what?
Drink condoms.
Oh yeah.
What the?
It's like a thing, a rubber thing that goes over your drink.
Oh.
If you like leave, it's like a you leave your drink on the bar and you go to the bathroom and you come back, and if that's moved, you don't drink. You know
I got you. that just that name threw me for a minute. I'm like, how does that work? But yeah, I got you now.
I don't get that whole have a drink and go to the bathroom. Like, I try to time mine. Like, I'll finish it and then I'll go. You know what I mean?
I always just took mine with me.
Take it with me. That's what I did.
Yeah.
In the bathroom?
Yeah.
That's gross.
Well, I mean, if it's a bottle of beer, it's like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
You only need one hand.
Oh, Jesus. Which does not work that way for women. I mean, true, we can do it with one hand, but I don't want to be holding anything. Oh, what the hell? I just think it's nasty to take it in the bathroom. Like,
Well, I mean, for safety reasons, I get it. Just saying. I've done it before. You keep your bottle in your hand, you walk in the bathroom, zip, zip, boom, boom, you're done. Come back out, and you're all on your way.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, Cletus and Clue and Willie, I appreciate you guys joining me up here today. I like your opinions and thoughts and theories on this. And like I said, there's more coming and more to talk about with this for sure. So I appreciate. Oh, hold on a second here.
I just figured out why women don't do that.
What?
Take our drinks to the bathroom. Ours is too big to hold with one hand.
Oh. Wow. Really?
What?
All right, there's a list. The Iron Bear, Rain, Oil Can Harry's, which was talked about. The Iron Bear and Oil Can and Cheer Up Charles. These are gay bars, and they were talked about along with this as well. And that's part of the theory, is that some of these guys could have been gay men and that they were gay bars, so on and so forth. So thank you, Molly, for that too.
I mean, that has to be a hate crime at that point, because they're not
that's what I call
anything to them.
Yes, ma'am, I agree. And that's how I was looking at this in the beginning, and then I saw these other things. So there's like a big bunch of stuff that goes into this. It's crazy. Doesn't necessarily mean that's what it is. It's just another way to look at it as a possibility. That's all. So,
unless they're being forced to do something to the person, I mean,
yeah, it's possible too. Very much so.
Because if the cops aren't doing their job, a true investigation, like, would you even think to like swab their mouth, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. And Felicity's right. Dahmer did that a lot. He's from like literally 20 minutes from where I'm at right now, and bounced around to some of these gay bars and regular bars and things like that. I mean, this kind of follows along with his scenario.
Yeah.
That's why I asked if it was a certain type of bar, right? Like, are there certain type of people? Like,
Well,
it's
some of them
country.
Some of them are gay bars, some of them are regular bars, and there was a theory that were the men all gay? I don't know. Then it came out that they weren't, and then some of them. It's just it's a mess. So I don't know, but I think I'm gonna shut her down. Okay, email again, Molly. Hold on a minute. Let me see. Or wait a minute. Actually, I still have this one here. Hold on. Or no, you sent it to me. Got you. Thank you. Thank you very much, my dear. I appreciate it very much. Molly's good with these emails, and she's quick too. Oh, no problem, Riddler. All right, guys. So again, thank you guys for joining me up here, and everybody in chat. I appreciate you too. Like I said, I know it was kind of a split show, but I wanted to cover this. I've been wanting to cover this thing for a while now. I just haven't got the chance to. I figured I'd just tag it on to the end of this. It's all out of Texas. So for those of you that didn't know, like Clue said, they're going to be live here in a little while. If you haven't checked them out yet, please do. We can throw the link out there somewhere, guys. Show some love. If you have not liked or subscribed yet, please do that and come hang out over there, because I'm going to be over there too. Hanging out, checking out. What are you guys covering today?
This theory I had a while back, right? People I know looked at it like it could be a conspiracy theory. However, today we were just messing around looking at some things and found some proof that might back up my crazy ass conspiracy theory. So
evidence that might back up.
Evidence. What did I say?
Proof.
Oh yeah, evidence. Potential evidence.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like fun. Can't wait.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you here. What time was it again? 6:30 Central?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's in like an hour.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Can't
right.
wait.
Thanks, Dago.
Take care, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Everybody in chat, thank you once again for everything you guys do for supporting this channel. There's the link for Cluminati. I appreciate you guys so very much for supporting the channel the way that you guys do every day. You guys are amazing. Please, guys, don't forget to love yourselves, love each other, and don't change a thing about yourselves because you guys are the beautiful people. And I will see you all so very soon. Bye-bye now. That's awesome, David, and thank you for being part of this community for 5 months. We love you, brother.